Okay. And we should be live. Okay. Justin, how's it going, man? How you doing? Giovanna, how's it going today? Commuting home surprise? Yeah, a little bit earlier than usual, but yeah, we are indeed live. We're about 2 hours earlier than normal, but this allows me to get to bed a lot sooner too. So good surprise. Ramiro, how's everyone doing this fine morning or afternoon? I only slept for like 4 hours today. Still feel quite energetic though. I have a similar thing, Justin. If I've been sleeping pretty decently on average, and then I sleep for like 4 hours or like 3 hours or more, like between 3 to 5 hours in a day, dude, I feel so good. I feel so energetic for like the first 5 or 6 hours of the day. Holy shit. And then I get really tired after, but that's a separate issue. I almost fell asleep at 6 a.m. Oof, I'm sorry, Romero. Yeah. Wait, you slept before this, right? Just to confirm, like you slept at like midnight or 1 and got a couple hours of sleep? You haven't been up all night? Yes? I had way too much caffeine today, so I'm definitely going to crash later. Ramiro, why have you not slept? What? That's not good for you, man. I played Minecraft with Red DSV and Burnt On. Wait, do you guys have a server? Remember I was playing Minecraft with the gang. Do you guys have a server? I'm asleep after this? Okay, fair enough. I haven't played Minecraft in so long. Oh my god. Yeah, we started playing 2 days ago. Oh my god. What version are you guys playing on? Are you guys playing with are you guys playing on Java or Windows? Because if it's Windows, I have Windows. I can join. Yeah, love that. But if you're on Java, I don't have it. I mean, I can buy Java, but yeah, yeah, I'd love to. Okay. Now I'm gonna 1.21. Okay, dope. Okay, so that's okay. Yeah, so that's regular. Okay, dope. I can download Minecraft. Oh my god, hold on. Where did I fuck? I need to remember where I downloaded it though. I don't think I bought it off Steam. Did I? Where did I buy it from? Nagato, how's it going, man? 1.214. Of course, everyone on there has very legal copies of Minecraft. Yes, of course. Um, it's Java, but I think you only need an account with Microsoft. I don't know if that's true. Oh wait, never mind. It's included with my Game Pass, so I don't really give a shit. Okay, dope. I will install it later. I would install it right now, but it's probably gonna end up tanking the fucking stream quality if I try. Do I test it? Do I try? Okay, I'm gonna try. If this starts tanking quality, I'm gonna stop immediately. Okay, I promise. I'm gonna do C. This should be fine. Probably works out. Let's see. We will tag you next time we play. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Survival world, right? It's not hardcore, and it's not because I'm having an aneurysm from this new raid on Lost Ark. Okay. No worries, Kami. I appreciate you popping by, man. Okay, stream quality seems to... Okay, it seems to be holding so far. We should be fine. I see little dips occasionally, but it should be okay. Okay. Is it a survival world, Ramiro, or like hardcore or something? Cause it's survival, thank God. Okay. Because I don't do hardcore, man. I don't have it in me. If I die, I need to be able to get my shit. I'm too chicken shit to lose all my shit if I die. What the fuck is going on? What? I started downloading when I told you guys, and it's saying it's at 50% download. That's crazy, right? What? Me and Burnt went on a journey and slowly lost our sanity. Oh, I will warn you guys, I will be on voice chat. I will talk with you guys, but I'm a miner through and through, okay? I am digging straight down as soon as I get a stone shovel or a stone pickaxe, and I'm not coming back up until I have enough diamonds for the gang, okay? You don't understand. You're a miner? Okay. Okay, Kami. Why you gotta be such a bitch? I don't know who Kevin Penkin is. Kevin Penkin? What, Sumi? I don't remember composer of Made in Abyss and Tower of God. Oh, cool. I don't know composers' names, man. What the fuck do you think of me? Wait, oh my god. My internet is goated. I already downloaded it. What the fuck? It's already downloaded. This is great. Stream is technically supposed to start in 12 minutes. This is great. I love this. Okay. Sorry. We're gonna let's do all the regular stuff. Let's do Wordle. Let's do. Wait, hold on. Before that, I wanna watch something came up. I wanna see what this is. Pragmata. I didn't see this. I'm gonna turn up the volume for the audio. If it gets too loud, let me know. Okay.
It isn't just a dream. It's a promise. One we're turning into reality. With our third generation of Luna Filament and advanced generative AI, we're reshaping the line between dreams and reality. We create life for our future. Delphi Corporation.
Okay, I'm gonna move this along. This is really slow so far.
I don't see that getting passed through to Earth.
Are you gonna play Delta? What in the actual fuck is Deltarune? I'm sorry. Deltarune. I have not played any of them. Nagato, so probably not. Oh, Undertale too. I mean I can, but I haven't played Undertale. Oh, you guys are gonna hate me, but I have not played Undertale.
Pass me up.
What the fuck is this game?
Whoa, hang on a second. Let's have a name or something. Good.
Why does this remind me so much of what does this remind me so much of Death Stranding for some reason?
Get behind me.
I think I can help.
Okay, never mind. Seems more.
Neutralizing threats.
Neutralize us?
Looks like we're gonna have to fight our way through. What the?
Bypassing first and second firewalls. Hooking control protocols. Initiating hack.
Okay, that does not look like. Okay, I thought it was gonna look way better. Never mind. Hold on. Wordle. Let's pull it up, boys. Okay. Bro, the character models for Stellar Blade are too good. Like, genuine, that has me tweaking. Cooner. True, Kami. This should be about here. Let's get the music up and going. Let's keep going. Okay. Ooh. So. Okay. DEAD. It's probably not a great one. Okay, so there's an E. Oh, no, wait. E and A I already know. Never mind. Okay, this is known in knowledge. I'm stupid. Bullseye. How's it going, man? Okay. Let's try this. Oh, shit. Okay, that's new. See. Hey, let's go. Should I tell you the answer? No. Shut up, Nagito. We got there. You guys wouldn't believe it, but as much as I appreciate Devil and everyone helping me, I can't get them on my own. It may take me an extra try, but I can't get there by myself. Just learn to use coordinates in Minecraft. True, I know. Just what I always do is when I'm leaving my house for an adventure, I just pull up the coordinates, take a screenshot, and then I go wherever, and then I just use those to get back. Lies? Okay. Bro. Hook. No. Cheer. Clap. Whistle. Root. Let's go. You overestimate my level of directional skills. I'm not kidding, just Romero. Literally just screenshot the coordinates of your house and then just go wherever, and then you can just use those to get back. Console. Bridge. No. And re-download Witcher and forgot I was on a New Game Plus, so gotta go through the boring parts first. There's no boring part. Oh, well, okay, that's not true. The starting is slow. Right up until you can kill the... I think as soon as you get to what is it, the Bloody Baron, after that, I think it's all good. Especially once you get to Novigrad. Novigrad is like particularly my favorite, but true, the start is a little rough. That whole killing the basilisk, killing the whatever that fucking thing is I could never. Oh, Ramiro, you sadden me. I had such high hopes for you. You sadden me so deeply, child. Wow, that is hard to hear. That actually hurts. I'd have joined the server if it was Windows. Bedrock? Yeah, I just thankfully it's all included in my Game Pass membership, so I just downloaded it. So I will join the server after stream, or maybe on a break or something if we have a break today. I might. I don't know. It depends. It's probably gonna be a 3-hour stream, so we shouldn't need one, but we'll see. Okay, can someone actually help me with this? I don't actually know what I'm doing. Bedrock MC is just worse than Java in my opinion. Why? I don't know. People say this. I think it used to be the case. I tried to play Witcher 3 but could never get into it. You just tell me when to join. I need to turn it on. Oh, I see. Yeah, no worries, Romero. I might there's this. Why is Bedrock worse? Can someone tell me? I feel like it used to be worse in the old days, but like nowadays I don't know if there's much of a difference. Bench, refrain, console, bridge. No, I don't even. Cloud console should go. Why? Bench, coat rack. I was thinking some kind of like furniture or some bullshit. I don't know. I only have my phone to play with, so I don't have a choice, Justin. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, I don't know. Let me just play Pips really quickly, and then we'll go, and then we'll start. 6 and 6. Gonna feel good. I feel alright. I feel good. No, you. Alright. This is. So I need 2 and 6. So it just needs to be like this. Oh, like that. Oh, of course that works. Silly me. Wait, no. Oh, come on. What? I don't know, but I know that Redstone works way better on Java. Oh, I can never do anything with Redstone, so I don't have that. I feel good on you. Alright. If I do this, but then I need a 6 that goes there. Oh, that'll work. No, but then I need a 6 there. Okay, never mind. Devil, how's it going? I thought I saw the vision too. We're so cooked. Okay, hold on. Let me cook. This. Now I need to avoid that, but I need a 6 there. 12, 2, 6, no problem. 6, 4. I can get a 6 there, and I can get a 10 there, but that doesn't equal then. So I need 2 6s here, but then I also need 2 6s that even out here. And then I need a 6 there. Okay, what? Okay, so those have to be 4s then. Okay, never mind. So this 6 has to go here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. A 4 has to go here, and a 4 can go here. If I do this, then everything works except these 2. That works, that works, that works, that works. Now we need to get now we need to get this 4 in here like this somehow. But how does that equal? Equal means the numbers that are in this circle need to be the same number. So like if there's a 4 here, it needs to be a 4 here. If there's a 5, there needs to be 2 5s, whatever. Red is making a giant base. I'm just gonna crash in his house as I get building. Oh, my houses unironically look like 4 square walls of wood and then some windows in the middle. Or this one time, like 5 or 6 years ago, I spent like 6 hours following a YouTube tutorial to build a really nice house, but I can't do it myself. I need like something to copy off of. I sure should. Okay, okay. It's 9 o'clock. Fuck it. We're reading. I don't know. I don't care. Is the server? Yes, the server is up, Devil. I'm also gonna join. We will play. We will have so much fun. I think it's a community server. I just live in the village or an underground base, so no build. No, I literally just built 4 walls of fucking 4 walls of wood, and then I also do what is it? I also do I also do an entire wall full of double chests, furnaces, and then a crafting table in the corner, and that's it. And I just spend spend my entire time mining. That's why I get burnt out of 4 walls, like Forest Wall. True. That's why I get burnt off of Minecraft so often, because like I'll just spend all my time mining, and then eventually I'll get bored because I'll be like, I have 4,000 diamonds. I don't need anything anymore. Yes. Okay, let's keep going. He has something to say to ask Captain. Danitz frowned as he watched Gehrman leave the room, unsure what his real motive was. What is this fellow after? Money? Riches? But he had the time to take away the heads of Steel Mavetti and Blood Brambles Henry to exchange for nearly 10,000 pounds in bounty. Yes, even after paying my commission, it would still be 7,000 to 8,000 pounds, but he didn't do so. Moreover, he generously shared the spoils of war with me. This is so contradictory. When he first heard that I was blazing, his first reaction was to call me a 3,000 pound bounty. In Captain's words, this isn't scientific. Minecraft, a game that teaches you so many things like don't waste your diamonds on housing slavery is okay. I see. Of course you're invited, Bullseye. What are you talking about? Why would he deliberately give up the bounty? Unless he has a better way to claim it safely. Or he specifically left it for someone. Yes, he had prepared for the appearance of the Punishers. He had his own conclusions and information channels. This way, everything can be explained. There's also the possible existence of a demigod that killed the Rear Admiral. There's a powerful and secret organization behind Gehrman. Shocked by his own conjecture, Danitz instinctively tried to use his body language to express his feelings, but he forgot that his left arm was still fractured and immediately grimaced in pain. This made him feel even more terrified. He didn't want his captain to meet such a dangerous and crazy fellow. You can join? Oh, true. Let's go. He even suspected that Gehrman's real motives was his captain's 26,000 pound bounty. In a duel, that lunatic might not necessarily win against the captain, but there's still the first mate, the second mate, the third mate, and a few boatswains. But he still has a terrifying organization behind him. He wants to hurt the captain? Over my dead body. Danitz puffed out his chest, raised his neck, and was filled with stirring sense of self-sacrifice. 26,000? True. Yeah, 26,000 I would, yeah. Hold on. You know what this, hold on. I get up. Okay. You know what this reminds me of? Hold on. You want to hurt the captain over my dead body. Danitz puffed out his chest, raised his neck, and was filled with a stirring sense of self-sacrifice. You know what this reminds me of? Stop.
What you do have is bad posture. So all you need to do is 2 steps. Bring your shoulders up, back, and down. Bring your chin slightly forward and then slightly down, and look at the difference.
I'm a fucking child. Oh, this meme was so... I remember seeing this for the first time. I laughed so hard, dude. That was so funny. He ran his hand through his hair, gave a long grunt, and said to himself, I'll make further observations. Perhaps Gehrman really only has questions. Subconsciously, he looked around and found that both the flying carpet and the shadow cloak, they weren't missing. In other words, Gehrman left the things that belonged to me behind. Isn't he afraid I'll take the opportunity to escape? Or did he steal my hair that makes it easy for divination? Danitz the courageous dog. KX, how's it going, man? How you doing? No, he's crazy. Even if he uses my hair, he'll just walk over and pull one out. It's impossible for him to do it secretly. Bro, he's crazy, not an idiot. What do you think? Right, there's a powerful and secretive organization behind him. We all know why Milos is a mod, child-to-child communication from Wiz. Okay, Romero. Okay, I thought we were friends, dude. You gotta hit me with that shit? Right, there's a powerful and secretive organization behind him. Perhaps, at this moment, there are people from that organization monitoring me. They're waiting for me to leave. Waiting for me to seek out the captain. How insidious. You're alive? That is good news. That is good to hear, KX, you know? I know we friends roast each other. Okay. Don't forget to Nagito. I love how Nagito is only telling me to talk about the Discord for his own purposes. I love that. Gearman must have gone out on purpose. Danitz felt that he grasped the truth on the matter thanks to his experience and wisdom. Dude, Danitz overthinks about as much as Alger does at this point. This is crazy. He paced back and forth before sitting. He then thought with a silent, mocking smile, I'm not leaving. I want to see what you can do. I will not bring danger to my captain. At 3:15, Simene Islands. This island was also part of the Rorstad archipelago. But it was the furthest from the city of Generosity in Bayam. It took nearly 5 hours on a liner to reach it. On the way, Klein bought a suit from local characteristics and a small suitcase to replace the clothes he changed out of, for a total of 14 soli, not even worth £1. Oh, by the way, I have my fan on. Let me know if you guys can hear it or it's disturbing the audio quality. I can turn it off. It's just hot as shit in my room, so. Wearing pantaloons, a thick brown jacket, and a light brown cap, Klein disembarked from the liner with a native face that didn't stand out. He entered some of the old ports on Simene Island. He had spent some time buying clothes and changing his appearance, causing him to miss the 9 o'clock ferry and be put in a situation where he could only take the ferry at 10. Thinking of the expenses he had to pay for this acting, he couldn't help but calculate his current financial situation. Can't hear it? Oh, perfect. Okay. This is so much better. Holy shit. Because I always have to open my window normally if it gets too hot, which is fine because generally it's not too loud in my area or whatever, but sometimes there just wouldn't be any wind and it was just fucking useless for me to open the window. So this is so much better. The faceless characteristic sold for £3,825. The pirate bounties net me 3,000. Although I haven't received the £6,825 yet, I can basically include it in my budget as long as the hanged man doesn't get exposed. The leftover cash from Donna and company's gratuity add up to £255 in bits and pieces. If a faceless impersonates a black person, does that count as blackface? No, it does not. I don't think so. I found £26, 11 soli, and 8 pence on Steel Mavetti's body, and the £5 as 5 gold coins as reserves. Bro, what the fuck is up with these gold coins? We've been hearing about them for like 300 chapters. This is crazy. These gold coins have to do something. If a faceless... no, okay. So, Bullseye, hear me out. The reason I don't think it counts as blackface is blackface is like... It's obvious that you're not a black person, but you're like, it's like a joke, right? So you get the appearance kind of, but you don't get any of the downsides. Like you don't get any of the downsides if you're like a black person, like you don't, like, you know, you're not racially profiled, you're not this, you're not that, whatever. Like you avoid all that stuff. Whereas if a faceless actually transforms into a black person, they get all the downsides too. So I don't think it counts as blackface. I think it counts, blackface is done to play caricatures. Yeah, this is true too. And Klein, I mean, although I guess in fairness, someone could also put on a black face, a faceless could put on a black person's face to do a caricature, but I doubt it. If someone converts a human body into its elements and then makes sugar out of it, is it cannibalism? Yes. Yes, on the premise that the person who's eating it knows that it's a human body. I think the intent is important. Like in the law, I think intent is important. I think if you kill a person, that's bad. But I think there's a substantive difference between like, oh, I threw a baseball just like northwards at a 45-degree angle and it landed and killed a person. And, oh, I was driving my car at 60 miles an hour. I saw a pregnant lady crossing the street and I could have slowed down because I saw her. But I said, fuck it. I don't really care. And I drove. There's like a substantive difference between those two. So if you eat someone by accident, it doesn't count? I don't know what you mean by it doesn't count. I'm not saying like you didn't eat a person. I'm saying that it's not as bad as a person who knew it was a human and still chose to eat it anyway. But the purpose of Faceless is to perfectly replicate the person, no mocking. Well, not really, Devil. The purpose of Faceless is to perfectly replicate the person physically. Now, that person can put on that person's face and then act like a dumbass. You have the choice to do that. You wouldn't be digesting the potion quickly, but like the potion gives you that free ability. So you can do a caricature. I'm a willing auto... what is an auto cannibal? No, it's still... That's interesting. Okay. I guess... No, hold on. I guess it technically counts as cannibalism, because by definition, cannibalism is the act of eating one's own species. So it's still cannibalism, but it's not as bad as a person who's eating it knowingly. Sorry. Let me preface it. Let me say it like that. That sounds better. Two very interesting topics. I know, side by side. I haven't spent much money recently, only spending slightly more than £1 in total. This is something to be happy about. With that said, I'll have £7,110. Moreover, I still have the Nightmare Beyonder characteristic and the Murloc bladder. They're still worth something. On second thought, I earned a £3,000 bounty alongside a Zombie Beyonder characteristic. The latter is worth about £3,000 to £5,000. That is to say, I've earned about £7,000. This is only from Steel Mavetti, Blood Brambles, Hendry, and Squall. Besides, there's quite a lot of waste. Indeed. Hunting pirates is a good job. I can administer justice, punish evil, protect the weak and innocent, and make me rich overnight. So if I eat a Neanderthal, would that count as cannibal? Okay. I still think that counts as cannibalism. Hear me out. Because we've generally found that there has been a lot of commingling between humans and cannibalism in terms of our genetics. So like all humans alive today have a certain percentage of Neanderthal ancestry. So yes, I think it counts, Bullseye. Klein subconsciously turned his head to the side, only to see that the color of the seawater was much clearer than that of Baiam's. It was as if the seawater had a huge green sparkling gem reflecting golden sun rays under the sunlight. Sure enough, it's not without reason that generations after generations of adventurers have gone to sea to search for wealth. Even if I deduct the remnant spirituality of ancient rates, eyes from a six-eyed gargoyle, spring water from Sonia Island's golden spring, and other supplementary ingredients of a marionettist, I'll have the money I have will be enough to allow me to buy a decent manor here. In Desi Bay, in the southern continent's colonies, and in a non-metropolitan area. Lone's countryside is said to be very beautiful, and if it turns out that I'm really unable to return, I'll consider settling down in a similar place. I don't know. The more this world is fleshed out, wonder will Wiz ever be cancelled in the future? One of these discussions being brought up. And you know what, Justin? If I'm ever big enough to ever be considered actually being cancelled, that'll be a win in and of itself. Okay, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. With how much this world is being fleshed out, I get more and more scared every time I'm reading that Klein might not actually be able to go home. Like, this world is so fleshed out. I don't know. Would the author do this for Klein just to return home? Yes, I'll still have a 10% stake in Backlund's bike company, and my future returns won't be cheap. With confidence, Klein straightened his back and thought about the future. After letting his thoughts wander, Klein began to think about the more realistic option, which was whether he should sell the Nightmare Beyonder characteristic, find an opportunity to return to the Church of Evernight, or create a mystical item with it through an artisan. When are you going to read the rest of my thing? Yes. Wiz in his trial in Lord of the Mystery Stream 57. You said something. I said something you believe to be racist, Nagito. Okay, big difference. I didn't say anything racist. You just thought it was. Now we can talk about it, and I'm happy to consider your feelings. It's very possible I might have been insensitive, but let's be clear. I didn't say shit, motherfucker. When are you gonna? I will try to read it tomorrow, Devil. Because I have to read the second chapter of usernames, and I have to read the rest of yours. Yours is by far the longest, Devil, that I've read. My God. And by the way, I want to say, in fairness, they're all well done. Nagito's and Milosh's usernames and yours, they're all well done. They all have different areas where improvements can be made. But they're all well done. Like, they're based on reading the first chapter or two of each of them. I would read that novel. So I mean, you know, all of you take that with some pride. Although, in fairness, also take it with the understanding that it's me saying it. I'm not. Don't take me that seriously, you know. It depends on the situation. The ideal solution would be to sell it to the church. The martyr, Klein, who had taken 2 potions from the Nighthawks, thought with uncertainty. At the same time, he hoped that the little son would reach Sequence 7 and be qualified to gain clearance to the methods to remove mental corruption from a characteristic. As for the matters of releasing the Priests of Light from the glove, he wasn't in a hurry. Little son had just received the potion formulas from Sequence 7, so he had no need for it at the moment. He would have to wait a while longer, and the powers of a Priest of Light was very effective in dealing with a pirate like Admiral of Blood in a way that was far more potent than the Sun Brooch. I made a huge improvement to world building today? That's awesome, Nagito. I only ever read volume 1 of Red's novel and a bit of Milosh's a while back. Oh, I don't know if we're talking about the same novel, Justin, because I know Milosh and Devil had their own novels that were separate from this one. I never read Milosh's first one. I did read Devil's, though. I read, I think, 2 or 3 chapters of Devil's. As his thoughts settled, Klein entered a small port town. The place was filled with natives. Their skin was nearly bronze, and their black hair had light, natural curls. Their bodies emitted a scent that was derived from a prolonged contact with spices. After changing his appearance and asking about Rain's situation and if there was any news about Wendit's death, Klein found a secluded corner, wiped his face with his hand, turning into a tall, thin Wendit with a rather distinct facial feature. He carried his suitcase and circled around the town to its border. It was then that he saw the winery run by Rain's family. The girl was flaxen-colored. The girl with flaxen-colored hair could no longer be called a young girl. She had obviously matured a lot compared to what Wendit remembered. She was sweeping the entrance, and there was no one around. Klein took a deep breath and slowly let it out, feeling as though he was in a very difficult position. As a powerful keyboard warrior, he knew about theories like method acting and experimental acting, but he lacked further understanding. He could only try to guess at Wendit's mood and performance in this kind of scenario. Finally, he closed his eyes and walked over. She opened her mouth slightly and let out a half-surprised exclamation. "Why are you suddenly back?" "Remember, you're just acting," Klein revealed a smile. "I came to bid you farewell." He spoke in a local dialect, with a somewhat nondescript Bayam accent. The language of the Rorstad archipelago was derived from the ancient Facesac and belonged to another variant. "Farewell?" Rain asked. I'm going to chase after a treasure trove, and I don't know when I'll be able to come back. When the time comes, I'll appear with a great amount of money. I'll buy a manor in the suburbs, plant some rubber trees, set up a vineyard and have my own mill, wine cellar, and black shopsmith, and let the air be filled with the scent of all kinds of spices. I'll buy a few slaves, what the fuck, Klein? And hire some servants, just like those masters. But I'll still be short of one thing. He overcame his goosebumps that were about to form on his skin and turned to look Rain in the eye. I still lack a wife and a mistress for the manor. Rain, I like you. I wish to marry you. The reason I said it aloud today isn't to get an answer, but because I'm afraid I'll never have the chance to tell you. After listening, Rain suddenly scolded angrily. Wendit, you're a coward. This reaction isn't right. Klein deliberately revealed a surprised expression. 3 years ago, 3 frickin' years ago, I was prepared to go to Bayam with you, but you didn't say a word in the end, you coward. Chicken. What's the point of telling me now? You're going to the sea soon, and you might not ever come back. You've said it aloud and become happy. You have no regrets. What about me? I'll have to constantly think about you returning and live on in pain, you selfish bastard. She waved the broom in her hand and swung it towards Wendit. Klein knew the real Wendit would have hit the broom away, hugged the girl, and tell her that he wasn't going to the sea again. But he couldn't do the same. He had to pretend to be chased away, pathetically, running all the way to a nearby alley. There, he hit his head against the wall while silently cursing himself. It was too fucking awkward. This is too awkward. Rain went back to the door, picked up the broom, and crouched down. Her face was ashen. It was unknown what she was thinking. Vaguely, she heard a sound and fell asleep. After using the charm, Klein turned around and nudged Rain, who was sitting on the ground and leaning against the wall, then quickly left the area, hiding in a distance to peep at the results. Rain quickly woke up and realized that she had fallen asleep without knowing it. Everything that happened just now was a dream. She remained sitting there, motionless, for a while. Wait, hold on. So Klein did all that, and then he used a charm to put her to bed. Is that what happened? Or to put her to sleep? Is that what happened? Oh, after using the charm. I read this. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Okay, so Klein just made her think it was less. Okay. Suddenly, she lowered her head and let out a sharp curse that seemed to come from the depths of her heart. Wendit, you selfish bastard. Klein, who felt a tiny sensation of digesting the potion, sighed, changed his appearance, and left the place. He would have to spend the night on Simene Island. There were no liners headed for Bayam until the morning. Klein has it in his blood. Yay, slavery. Oh, okay, Justin. Okay. To be honest, if we got isekai'd, would we do anything to stop slavery? Well, that's the question, right, Bullseye? The truth of the matter is, most people, most everyone, would accept the status quo, regardless of what it was, wherever they were. They would just say, hey, this is how things are in this world, and leave it there. That's why the story of a person who's willing to fight against the status quo is so impressive, because it's in our instinct to just blend in with the crowd, to say, hey, whatever's happening is probably fine. That's why people who are willing to go against it are such martyrs. They're revered. Because there's something off about them. Whether that's literally just, hey, they're, I don't know, this is probably not the right word, but hey, they're literally just autistic and literally are unable to understand stuff like social cohesion or whatever, or whether it's something more intrinsic in that they you know, they understand stuff differently, or they're willing to be socially extricated for the sake of the betterment of people. Is like, it's different. The nail that sticks up is the one that gets hammered down. Exactly, right? Everyone admires, but everyone admires the nail for standing up. That's very good, Javon. Yes, okay. That was like perfectly what I was trying to explain. Like, the person that's weird, like, we may not admire it in the moment, but in hindsight, it feels really cool. Like, I think about this often, like kids in high school who were weird and they were awkward and they didn't fit in. At the time, I was like, dude, that guy's so weird. But then in hindsight, I'm like, dude, I respect that kid so much for just being himself. He could have just, dressed differently or done whatever everyone else did, but he didn't choose to. He chose to just be himself. And he was like, fuck it. If people don't like me, then fuck them. Don't like me. I don't care. So, yeah. After changing his face and turning into one of the two main streets, Klein went straight to the green mailbox and took out a letter he long prepared. This was a death notice he had forged as an imitation of an official police document. It was sent to the sergeant of the town in Saimim Harbor. It was about the sudden death of the local resident, Wendit, in Bayam. When decided to do the acting, Klein had worked out a plan to keep things on track and not cause irreparable damage to the girl, Rain. His plan was to use the slumber charm to camouflage the real acting as a dream. This way, if Rain had no love for Wendit, he expected her to directly reject his confession. After hearing about the other party's death, she wouldn't feel any guilt, and at most some fear. In response to this, she could effectively be placated by going to the church to pray and confess. If Rain also liked Wendit and responded to the confession, then the dream would give Klein a chance to extricate himself from the situation. The notification of Wendit's death would kill Rain's expectations, and it wouldn't have too negative an impact on her future life. Really? I would think that would fuck her up. Like, I feel like that would be so devastating. If someone you like and left a while back came back in your dream to confess to you, you say yes, you wake up from a dream, you're devastated already. You're like, oh my god, I really wish they'd done that. And then you find out they fucking died, and you're like, oh my god, that would feel so bad. What the fuck? But even so, it's still a bit cruel. No matter what kind of woman she is, facing the situation of a guy confessing to her in her dreams after his death is going to be heartbreaking. She wouldn't be able to recover for a long time. Thank you, Klein. Well, if I didn't do anything, and when the news of Wendit's death reached her, she would definitely feel very sad, even if it might not be that serious. However, that knot in her heart would never be able to be mended, and she would be stuck wondering for the rest of her life whether Wendit had gone on an adventure to pursue his and her future, or if he simply didn't like her. It's not a bad way to end things like this. Once she has overcome her pain, she will carry that gentleness of having been truly loved once. Oh, that's okay, never mind, that is kind of sweet, never mind. Regardless, to forcibly interfere with the lives of others for acting, having an impact on an innocent person's life to a degree, even though I'm using the excuse of fulfilling a wish, it's not a kind thing to do. Like Roselle said, the further one proceeds in the Beyonder pathway, the more twisted and evil it feels. The acting method might not be a catalyst. All I can do is try my best to minimize such effects. After sending the letter, Klein exhaled, and with a negative face that didn't stand out, walked to the only inn in town. Along the way, he summed up his previous experiences, which was that disguising yourself as someone else and obtaining feedback was likely the main clause of the Faceless Principles. Second only to, you can disguise yourself into anyone, but you are ultimately yourself. This is good. Once Klein starts understanding the characteristics of a pathway, or for a sequence rather, it's not too long till he finishes digesting it. So this is good. Like, I assume there's probably still another 100 chapters or so before he does, but this is good. If it were any other Faceless, they would have blocked out information about Wendit's death for the sake of the role. They would have agreed to Rain's confession and spent a year or two in a relationship with her, marry her, and have kids with her, and then to not be bound by various relationships in this identity, remember who they were, and leave coldly. If there was no exposure during this process, the potion would be mostly digested. Bitch, but that would take like a year To have a kid with someone would take 9 months at the very least, assuming you're pitch perfect, okay? You meet the girl that day, you sleep with her that day, 9 months later a kid's born. Like, if you're pitch perfect, Klein is gonna digest this way faster than 9 months. What are we talking about? But I really can't do that. It's against my conscience. All I can do is try to push the envelope, Klein sighed. He shook his head and thought in a silent, self-deprecating manner. Beyonders not only have to constantly fight against the threats and madness, but also fight against all kinds of evil thoughts and corruption that pulls one down and causes one to fall. Even so, at the end of the day, one might still be corrupted by the abyss, becoming a monster that one swears to get rid of. 7 months at the very least? Why 7 months? What? Suppressing his thoughts, Klein stepped into the inn and said to the boss behind the counter, "An ordinary room." The boss looked up and gave him a glance, saying, "A valid ID certificate?" Klein smiled. "I forgot to bring it." "Then you can't stay here. This is the rule of our town." What the fuck? Klein took out a Solai note and pushed it over as if nothing happened. No, put it away. I don't want to be locked up by the sergeant. Get out. Get, you dirty bastard with no proof of identity. Bro, why is he such a bitch? Klein was thrown out of the inn in shock, unable to believe that the omnipotent entity known as money had lost its power. After a few seconds, he turned into an empty alleyway, turned into Gehrman with stark facial features, and then returned to the inn and asked for a room in a Backland accent. The man looked up and immediately put the things in his hands down and nodded. "Okay. Do you need a room with a view of the sea or something quieter?" "This really is a pragmatic world," Klein lampooned. "Quiet." Yes, immediately," the boss responded. Some people get bombed and so... What? Yeah, borned. Oh, born. That's not a word, man. That's not a word. Nagito. Well, yes, but... If someone... Yeah, well, exactly, Giovanna. This proves my point, right? Klein was wearing the skin of a darker skinned person, but he also got the negative effects of it. He didn't just get to wear the skin and then have no negative downsides like someone wearing blackface would. No, he got the downsides. Like that guy was like, "Get out, you piece of shit." Klein's like, "Bro, I'm trying to get a room. What the fuck do you think I'm doing?" Then the attendant asked, "Sir, how many nights will you be staying?" "It's 1 sola and 5 pence a night. Just tonight." At the Wind of Azure Inn, his luxurious suite with Danitz was 5 solai a night. Without a doubt, the room the boss had chosen was clean and tidy. Klein looked around and nodded. "Excellent. It's my honor," the boss flattered. Klein put down his luggage and rested for a while. Then he got up and went back to the ground floor to settle his dinner. Besides the counter, tables were arranged messily on the first floor. There was a greasy layer on the surface and a fireplace burning in the corner. The Rorstad archipelago was slightly to the south, and the lowest temperature in the winter was only about 10 degrees Celsius. However, for the locals, that was still cold enough that they needed a fire to warm up. Okay, I'm gonna be a really pedantic asshole here, but I feel like for all the detail that Cuttlefish went into, he should have done something about the temperature too. It's just Celsius in this world? Motherfucker, if you're gonna go with pounds, solais, and pence, give me something. Don't use Celsius. Come on. Make a thing for it. Come on. Do better. Now I want to be clear. I totally understand why he'd use Celsius, because using anything else would be so complicated to try to explain, because like money doesn't really matter, right? Like you can get a relative understanding really quickly. Like, okay, a piece of bread is 10 solai. Okay. And then a really good room is like a pound a night or whatever. Like, okay, you have a rough understanding of valuation. Temperature amounts can be really fucked. I totally get that. but then make up a thing for it. Just say like, hey, the lowest temperature in the winter was like 47 Flaubergoops or whatever, which which roughly translates to 10 Celsius. Klein remembered. Give me that. Again, I'm gonna be real. This is really pedantic, really niche. Almost like literally doesn't matter. But I'm saying for the world that he's created, do better. 283.15 kelvins. Is that might actually be it? True, because absolute zero is 0 kelvins, which is like negative 273 degrees Celsius, negative 273.15, something like that. Victorians used Fahrenheit. This is true. Yeah, Victorians did. Fahrenheit that's why Fahrenheit and stuff is called the imperial, right? Because imperial was from the old age. Imperial was used, and then eventually everyone switched to metric because it was just a better thing. Metric is like perfect. Metric was set up with no, I remember the one fight. Devil, fuck you. Wait, is my message? He would have to make a new temp system and still compare. Yeah, no, I know, Romero, but that's why I'm saying, like, even with that, with the world he's created, I would expect him to. Again, I'm being a really pedantic asshole. I get that. That being said, it's very important if you're a STEM student. Bro, I said, yes, I know, I got it, Devil. I'm not a STEM student, but I still remember it. Like the reason Celsius was made with two axioms, since we're using the word of Lord of the Mysteries, okay? The two axioms were 0 needs to be the freezing point of water, and 100 needs to be the boiling point of water. With those two maxims, they did the conversion of Fahrenheit and then made up a thing for it. No, again, bullseye. We can totally give the man a break. I know I'm being a pedantic asshole. I'm just saying. Keep explaining the origin of the imperial system. I was hooked. So yeah. So like I would just same thing for like did you know one of the key reasons that there's two countries in the world. Sorry, I'm gonna get back to reading in like 2 seconds. Okay, there are two countries in the world that currently use the imperial system instead of metric, or imperial instead of metric. It's the U.S. and Bhutan, or Myanmar. Only the U.S. calls it Myanmar at this point, but I'll say it anyway, okay? Myanmar or Bhutan. Those are the two. The reason the U.S. doesn't use... not the only reason, but one of the key reasons the U.S. doesn't use a metric system was... so back in the old days, before like digital tech and stuff, in order to use kilograms, there needed to be a singular... official cataloged, confirmed kilogram in your country, so that you could make copies of it so that people could use that as like, okay, this is a kilogram. So the US was having one shipped from the UK or France or some one of those countries, I can't remember, and the fucking ship that was carrying it sunk. so they decided like, fuck it. Now, there was also another big reason, because there was also a bill going through the U.S. Senate or the House, I can't remember, one of them, and that bill didn't pass either. The bill was to switch nationally the country from imperial to metric. The bill didn't pass either, in fairness, so it wasn't the only reason, but that was one of the key reasons. The fucking ship sunk, and they were like, fuck it. Sorry, where was I? Klein randomly found a seat and sat down, ordering a local specialty of grilled meat and spiced mushroom soup, with the main dish of being potato bread. While he was waiting, he swept his gaze over the customers inside the restaurant. His gaze then instinctively landed on a lady. This lady had never had a head of simple tied black hair and a pair of distinctive green-grayish eyes. Her appearance was the type that one would never get sick of easily. The more he looked at her, the more intrigued he became. Does that just mean she's very pretty? What does that mean? You can think that Celsius was the influence from Roselle? I guess true. Nagato, not 2 hours, not 2 chapters in an hour at all, bitch. It's only been 40 minutes. Give me time, okay? She was obviously not a native, but she was wearing a man's shirt and a thick tan jacket. By her hand was a round-brimmed hat that with a depression in the middle. This was one of the more common adventurer outfits at the sea. At her table, there were three men where the other three men were the same, and they clearly appeared to be exposed to the elements. Klein had never hid his appreciation of beautiful ladies, but his attention wasn't drawn to her by her appearance. The sea had a strong sense of discrimination against females. Women who could achieve a certain status among adventurers and pirates were either scheming, powerful, or both. Their boots have some fresh mud on them. Did they just come back from the forest? They really are adventurers, Klein made a preliminary judgment. If these four adventurers came by a ferry from Bayam, even if they previously stepped on sewage or mud, the traces should have already dried up. Furthermore, as the town hadn't rained in the past 2 days, the roads were quite clean. The mud could only be explained that they had returned from a trip to the woods. Klein had heard about many adventurers that went deep into the primitive forests of the colonial islands in search of abandoned, forgotten pagan temples or altars, which often contained gold or jewels in worship, but were later buried for various reasons. There was no shortage of legend that someone had managed to make a fortune overnight on an adventure into the woods. There might be some evil spirits lingering in those places. It would be better to hunt pirates, or for one to at least acquire the relevant information in advance. The seven churches classified the various gods believed by the colony's primitive fates as evil spirits. Klein believed that some of them were natural spirits. After a while, the specially grilled meat was served. It had been sliced into many smaller pieces and strung onto a wooden stick. The surface was smeared with a reddish-brown sauce. The fragrance was rich and the color was alluring. It looks a little like a kebab from my previous life. In Lone, they're usually roasted with huge chunks of meat. Only if the meat is roasted would the chef slice it up. The method used here makes the flavor infuse the meat better. It's my type, Klein nodded with satisfaction. Klein enjoyed the meal and even tasted the local Gurney sap, a special beverage like lemonade with sugar and milk. He went back to his room because he had been hunting the night before. He hadn't slept at all. He washed up early, put out the fireplace and went to bed. Sleeping too early meant one problem. He would wake up in the middle of the night to pee. I hear that. Klein's dream was interrupted. He opened his eyes and slowly accumulated the courage to lift his quilt. In the middle of the night, Simim was about 8 or 9 degrees Celsius, making it cold. After lying still for a while, Klein stretched out his hand and silently withdrew it. He contemplated for a few seconds before reaching out again and picking up the sun brooch. Although it only provided the feeling of a hot summer on a spiritual level, and it didn't produce any actual heat, it could at least deceive one into thinking it wasn't cold. Klein got out of the bed and went for the bathroom. He narrowed his eyes to ease the pressure on the lower abdomen. When he was done, he pulled up his pants and was about to wash his hands. Hold on. So Klein went to pee. No problem, okay? When he was done, he pulled up his pants? Are you telling me Klein is the sort of person who drops his pants to his fucking all the way down when he goes to piss? If this is true, I've lost so much respect for Klein in that instant, it's not even funny. And was about to wash his hands when a spiritual perception was triggered. Klein slightly frowned and looked up at the vent in the bathroom. Something black and slippery dropped and hung there. It was a venomous snake. Klein was startled and opened his mouth and shouted, "Bang!" The snake was miserably hit and split in half. What the hell happened? Klein stared at it for a few seconds and walked out of the bathroom and pulled a golden coin from his pocket. Mr. 4,200 pounds. Next. See, Nagito? 2 chapters and I'm like 4 minutes behind schedule. We're doing fine. You should do a science and history video in between streams. Man, you're so chill. You only need some cheap animation in your set. I'd watch. I thought about that Nagato, but I mean, if and when this channel actually starts doing decently, and I'm actually making like any money, rather. I was gonna say some money, but any money off of this channel, I can consider it. But because like I love science and history, man. They're my jam. Like I would love so much besides like a channel about anime, because I fucking love this shit, and web novels and whatever. But like I love history and all this stuff. Like I would love to have a channel like Sam O'Nella, if you guys know who that is. Fuck, I love that channel so much. Like that's totally my type of content. I'd love to do that. There was a danger in the inn. Klein silently chanted this divination statement and flipped the coin. The golden coin tumbled and landed into Klein's palm. It was tails, indicating a negative response. No danger. Klein went above the grey fog to make another divination. In about 10 seconds, he received the revelation. There was still no danger. Growing up is realizing history is cool and they just teach you the boring shit? Wrong, Bullseye. They don't teach you the boring shit. You're wrong. They don't teach you the boring stuff. It's literally just that as a kid, being taught stuff is boring inherently. Like, I know in history class, when my teacher tried teaching us about World War II, I hated it, which sucked, because I loved reading about World War II on my own. I had books and books at home that I would read out of fun, because World War II was so cool. In World War I, like the learning about German tanks and American tanks and production and all that shit. No, it's literally just being taught that sucks. It has quantum physics. I'm gonna dump the stream and start reading. Nah, the way it's being taught. Yeah, exactly, Double. I don't even... partially, yeah, actually, no, yeah, I agree. He still remembered his seer principles, especially the one about divination not being all-powerful. So even if the answer he received indicated it was safe, he didn't dare to relax and return to his slumber. The way they did and what they did, it was boring. Wait, what did you say? What? You didn't say anything. What? Alright, thanks for popping by, G. You have a good night, buddy. I need the Throne of Magical Arcana stream? Yeah, I don't mind. How long is it, Ramiro? Is it you said it's also by Cuttlefish, right? Sorry, I keep reading your messages in my head. I just don't out loud respond to them. I have read the last message about the same thing as well. This isn't to say that he didn't believe in the Grey Fog's ability to shield him from interference, but rather that there were too many possibilities. He had already guessed about what happened. It was that the four adventurers in the restaurant had indeed found the abandoned and forgotten ancient temples in the primitive forest. They had obtained wealth or cultural relics, but had also stirred the barely surviving evil spirits, causing them to be plagued. Time ticked by, and Klein suddenly felt a subtle spiritual fluctuation spread out from the room and quickly blend into the surrounding darkness. The hidden flow that he had barely sensed vanished, and the tranquility of the night returned. As expected, it's a result of Beyonder powers. It's solved just like that. I'll wait a little longer. It should be dawn in an hour or two. Even if there really is a problem, this place has a cathedral and a mandated Punishers team. Klein entered cogitation. Bayam, Amorous Leaf Bar, Danitz, determined to hoodwink any monitoring, carried a cup of Lanty-proof and drunkenly watched as the girls on the boxing ring danced a hot dance. Dog shit. It's been so long since I've lost a single piece of clothing, he shouted. Then, ignoring whether they'd receive any response, they laughed, clinked glasses, and drank. Have you read any newspapers? The man who was fooling around the bar asked. Did your brains get eaten by a donkey? Do you think that do you think I can read those twisting, turning letters of the alphabet? Holy Lord of Storm! I'm only interested in this kind of twisting and turning. His companion raised his glass and pointed to the girls. The man who spoke earlier smacked the back of his head. Steele is dead, and he was killed by Danitz. The nearby Danitz was stunned for a moment. Then he sat up, slightly turning his head. He cleared his throat and took a sip of his liquor as if nothing had happened. Hold on, I'm going to change the music really quickly. The adventurer and part-time pirate who had brought them into the trade had once said that life at sea would be meaningless without liquor, women, and boasting. Steel? What steel? Let me tell you, when I was young, I once defeated a steel pipe, another drunkard interrupted. What did you do to a steel pipe? Should I say something like, whoa, your sure is thin. Get fucked, pussy. He didn't wait for a reply as he continued. Steel Mavetti is dead, the second mate of the Admiral of Blood. Wait, hold on. Throne of Magical Arcana is 910 chapters? Come on. Any science nerd will love it. It's like reading the history of science. Fun fact, I usually spend some time studying a random piece of history. This year I was studying in school something I already... my favorite moment in when they discover that E equals MC squared. Oh, let's go. The last half of his words came in a low growl. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Dog shit. A bar is always so chaotic. Hurry up. Get to the point I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for you to praise Lord Blazing. Danitz couldn't help but smash the cup of alcohol in his hand. The papers mention that it was jointly done by the Navy and the Church. Steele is dead. Blood Brambles is dead. Even Com Squall is dead. Is dead. John Smith and that bunch of assholes have been caught as well. A little drunk. A drunk who was still a little lucid and came over and joined the conversation. No. That's not the truth. I have a friend who works at the news. He told me that he has verifiable intel that can't be published. The Navy and Church were only used. The true murderer is Blazing Danitz and a mysterious adventurer. Impossible! There's no way Blazing can defeat Steele. Even if it's a sneak attack, there's no way. The crux is that powerful beyonder. Is that powerful adventurer. I suspect he's an adventurer nearing the rank of an admiral. I have no idea how Danitz got to know the guy. He contributed in the manner. Apparently Blood Brambles was finished off by him. Didn't you notice? Blazing's bounty has increased to 4,200 pounds. That's right. Really? Blazing isn't simple. What a fierce, great pirate. Great pirate? I really couldn't tell the last time I drank with him. You son of a bitch, when did I ever drink with you? I don't even know you, Danitz thought in delight. 4,200 pounds. If those fellows were to ever know, they would definitely get up at night to wipe the deck in envy. I can now be said to be the strongest boatswainsman of the Golden Dream. At this moment, Danitz wished that he could fly back to the ship and drink and brag with fellows like Ironskin and Beryl, telling them all about the thrilling events in Banshee Harbor. Unfortunately, for the sake of the captain, I have to continue to be the servant of Gearman, that madman. I'm already a great 4,200 pound pirate. Fuck, I thought Klein was gonna catch another pirate worth 4,200 pounds. Not that Danitz was just gonna become that. Never mind. Can we appreciate Mr. Dogshit? Basic bitch name right there. True. 2,000 words per chapter. Isn't John Smith the Gearman ripoff from Eminence and Shadow? No, Gearman has a 42 instead of 3. Yeah. Ginagito, what were you learning in school that you already knew about? As the Storm Cathedral bell rang, the orange sun in the sky rose. The surroundings were still so quiet that only the sound of water could be heard. Without encountering anything abnormal, Klein exhaled a sigh of relief and took off his clothes and returned to bed. His considerable spirituality allowed him to wake up at the scheduled time of 8:30. He washed up slowly, changed his clothes, and went to the first floor to buy a loaf of bread with cooked chestnuts and a glass of Gurney sap. Since he had already bought his return ticket for the 9 o'clock liner, Klein kept watch of the time and prepared to board the ship. At that moment, he saw the lady with greenish-gray eyes, as well as the 3 adventurers. They were buying tickets from the ticket office. The liner is about to leave. They definitely wouldn't make it in time for the 9 o'clock trip. I wonder if they obtained anything from the abandoned temple. Waking up on time is worth drinking the potion. Wait, you can't do that, Romero? Like, I always set an alarm because it's like a good backup to have. But like, I can, like, my internal clock is so on point that if I'm like, okay, listen, I need to wake up at 4:30, I will wake up at 4:25 or 4:28 every single time before the alarm. Like, my internal clock is like within like 5 minutes of my arrival time. Like, my internal clock is like fucking bang on. To me, sleeping is, to me, not sleeping is easier than waking up on time. Okay. Please don't let anything unexpected happen on the when they ride on the liner. Klein used his body to block the adventurer's line of sight and made a divination. The revelation declared that the liner wouldn't be in danger. Klein hesitated for 2 minutes, looked at the passengers waiting for the 10 o'clock liner nearing the ticket office, rubbed his fingers together, and lit the ticket in his palm. He went back to the ticket office as if nothing happened and bought the 10 o'clock liner ticket for 4 soli. Why the fuck would you do that? Then he went to the washrooms on the docks, went to the grey fog and divined his worries. He knew very well that if the results showed that there were great dangers, he wouldn't take the risk of boarding the ship. Instead, he would find a way to prevent the ship from sailing and destroy it, if necessary, to prevent any innocents from dying. Aw, that is sweet. If the revelation was the same as from before, he would write it normally and keep a lookout for any accidents. In the end, he received a negative answer. Klein was relieved and returned to the real world. He adjusted the position of the Murloc's bladder for quick access. If any accidents really happen, this Beyonder ingredient will become quite important in the vast ocean. This Beyonder ingredient could be used in a rudimentary, simple manner, just like the all-black eye. At 10 o'clock sharp, Klein, in his Gearman appearance, picked up his suitcase and followed the adventurers, boarding the liner. Along the way, he appeared to doze off or read the old newspaper and magazine on the ship, but in fact he was keeping an eye out on the adventurers. This weariness continued all the way to the port of Bayam, but no accidents occurred. Did they resolve all the problems? What did they actually get? Klein stopped by the side of the road and bought the latest newspaper, and watched the 4 adventures from the corner of his eye. Klein decided not to think about it anymore. As long as it didn't endanger the overall situation, he wasn't concerned about what they had done, just a little curious. He picked up his suitcase, leafing through the papers as he walked down Acid Lemon Street like an ordinary passerby. Suddenly, with a chuckle, he said to himself, "The bounty for deadnets has raised to 200 pounds. If things continue like this, he suspected whether he could resist the urge of sending the fellow to the Governor General's office. Walking back to the Wind Azure Inn, Klein heard undulating snores that were reaching a crescendo before he even took out his keys. He didn't escape? Klein was slightly surprised, but not too surprised. He previously tampered with Shadowcloak, so as long as Danitz left, he could use a divination to track him down. Although he's timid, he's still cautious. Klein opened the door and entered, looking at Danitz, and grinned. "Congratulations, Mr. 4,200 pounds. Danitz was instantly wide awake, wanting to laugh dryly, but he couldn't. At this moment, he felt his life might be in danger. Stockholm Syndrome? True. Nagito, 3 chapters in 58 minutes. Shove it, bitch. Right on schedule, motherfucker. Oh, that reminds me. I'm also thinking of doing, I'm thinking of my next video wanting to be about the end of Volume 2. I want to talk about my original thoughts on it, and the more I think about it, how my thoughts are changing. Is that something you guys would be interested in? So, like, originally I thought, like, the Volume 2 ending was kind of underwhelming after Volume 1. But in hindsight, having read especially that message from my chat with Easy, it really made me reconsider how I thought about it. And the more I think about it, I'm like, fuck, that guy might actually be right. You guys would be interested? Okay. For the title, the working title anyway, I'm thinking I was wrong about Volume 2 of Lord of the Mysteries. It's the working title anyway. Okay. Danitz's worries didn't come true. Klein gave him a look and went to the bedroom to rest. During the 5 hours he spent on the liner, he had already been in a highly tense state. He had also been alarmed last night and didn't sleep well as a result. He couldn't help but feel exhausted. With a thud, Klein closed the door to the bedroom. "He scared me to death," Danitz relaxed and slumped into the reclining chair. The scene of him turning into gold pounds had surfaced into his mind a moment ago. He found it difficult to stop having these scenes appear one after another in his mind. So seeing your Volume 2 would also be interesting? Okay, thank you, Giovanna. After a moment, Danitz, who had been hanging around the bar until dawn, fell asleep without realizing it. He dreamed that the moment the captain had arrived to save him, but had failed. Instead, she got caught by Gehrman and ended up becoming a maidservant for this adventurer. That would be amazing. We go from the 4,200-pound servant to the 42,000-pound servant. Just as Danitz was outraged and unable to resist, he saw the blurry scene around him turn clear as he was about to wake up. The scene froze on the luxurious suite of the Azure Inn. Danitz heard a slow, soothing knock. Wait, wasn't I dreaming? With this question, Danitz walked over and turned the handle. In the crack as the door widened, he saw a familiar figure. She was a beautiful lady with a face shaped like a goose egg, a high nose bridge, thin lips, and a pair of pale blue eyes. Her long brown hair parted in the middle, tied in a simple but delicate knot at the back of her head. Oh, Milos isn't here, otherwise he would have sent so much art about the captain. She didn't wear a hat, only wearing a beige coat which was tight at her waist. Her collar was covered with palm-sized flowers woven with white lace. Matching her coat was a dark-colored skirt which reached her knees. The pleats of her skirt were connected, looking slightly fluffy. On her feet were a pair of leather boots that shared the same color as her hair. "Captain!" Danitz cried out. He hurriedly snapped out of his reverie, turned around and faced Gehrman's bedroom while taking a defensive stance. "Be careful. Run. A lunatic is looking for you. He has a terrifying organization backing him." As the feeling of self-sacrifice welled up inside him, Danitz heard the captain calmly say, "This is a dream." "Oh, dream. I'm still dreaming. What's there to be afraid of?" "Captain, you simulated the powers of a nightmare? That can't be right. You were near Sonia Island last week." So she is of the reader pathway. I guessed right. She's of the reader pathway, at least a sequence 6, who can catalog and imitate the powers of Beyonders they've seen. What the fuck was the name of the sequence 6 of it for reader? Do we know this? Polymath. The largest island in this region of the Sonia Sea, which was the origin of its name. It's almost like a small continent. Originally, it was the only remaining gathering place for the elves after the cataclysm. But after time passed, this ancient Beyonder race was plagued by all sorts of factors and died out. The occasional sighting of them proves that they haven't gone completely extinct. At the end of the Fourth Epoch, the Lone Kingdom occupied this island, but in the 20-year war, they suffered a terrible defeat, handing over the Sonia Island to the Faesak Empire. That was already more than 7 centuries ago. Sonia Island was situated northwest of the Rorstad Archipelago, but it took nearly a month by ship to arrive there. Vice Admiral Iceberg Edwina Edwards was still in the vicinity of Sonia Islands last week, so it was impossible to reach Bayam within a week, unless she could fly or use the spirit world. We have just entered the Rorstad Sea, still 1,000 nautical miles from Bayam. Explains why they speak ancient Faesak instead of Loanese. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna write this down in the geography section of my notes. I don't know who told me to, I can't remember who told me to make a geography section for my notes, but in retrospect, thank you. That's actually gonna come in handy. The beautiful lady whom Danitz addressed as Captain nodded. We have reached the Rorstead Seas. I've already read this. In other words, she'll take another 3 or 4 days to arriving. That's normal. Danitz asked curiously, this should have already surpassed the range of a nightmare. Moreover, it far exceeds, he added inwardly. It's not a nightmare power, but our secret ritualistic magic. It uses an item left behind on the ship to enter the dream of someone far away. I've never heard of such a ritualistic magic before. Yes, Captain has mastered many strange and rare magic and witchcraft. No one can tell how much knowledge she possesses. She seems to have mentioned that her sequence name is Mysticism Magister. Hold on. Mysticism Magister. The plot thickens. Okay, Mysticism Magister. Wait, is she not of the reader pathway like I guessed? Okay. Okay. So my immediate instinct is that it might be sequence 5 of the Mystery Prior. Because mysticism, in my mind, is really linked with Mystery Prior pathway. So could it be sequence 5 of this? And mystery priors are also known for their knowledge of like mysticism, at least in my mind regarding Old Neil in particular. So that would make sense. And then Shepherd is also sequence 5, right? Which is the other thing that can... Wait, what am I doing? Yeah. No, not that. Or Shepherd. Why am I doing it like this? Why don't I just control F? Why am I like this? Yeah, sequence 5. Could she be of the Mystery Prior pathway? Or am I just fucking wrong? I could be wrong. But I could also be right. You know what I mean? Okay, we'll write it down. Sequence name. My guess is sequence 5. Copy this, get this out of here, toss this into the end of sequences over here. Captain, that is not Iceberg. Okay. Okay. That's my immediate thought. Hope Red Devil isn't here. Username, how's it going, man? What do you mean you're back? Isn't this your first time popping in this stream? Okay, I think Mysticism Magister sounds like sequence 5 of the Mystery Prior pathway. Captain, you sense that there's a problem with our point of contact here? Yes, this is another secret technique, Edwina answered. Seeing this, Danitz hurriedly sighed. poor old Rin and the others. What happened? The captain asked. I'll have to start from Demir Harbor. Dennis felt energized. He described his attempts to recruit Gehrman, but ended up discovering that he was insane, and also exaggerated his plight on the White Agate. According to the rough draft he prepared last night, he thoroughly described the weird and horrifying situation in Bansi Harbor, including the ambush and assassination attempt involving Steel Mavetti. He explained everything about how he joined forces with Gehrman for a counterattack in Hunt, as well as his own theories about Gehrman's background and powers. This included creeping hunger and the secret organization behind him. During this process, he tried his best to restore the truth, only exaggerating the role he played, raising his status from servant or attendant to an assistant or collaborator. Vice Admiral Edwina listened quietly the entire time. When he was done, she nodded and said, "He has no ill intentions." Him? Captain, he's a dangerous fellow. Are you sure? I can't be sure. Then why are you... Dennis took a silent breath, sensing the similarity between his captain and Gehrman. They were people who couldn't engage in a conversation. That's just my speculation and judgment. Bro needs to make himself look good. Okay, listen, as easy as it is to shit on him for that, because in written form it's so obvious, we all do it, so I can't judge him too harshly for it. Dennis rubbed his temples. Anyway, he's dangerous. There's a secret organization backing him, and I have no idea the situation of the organization. Captain, I don't think you should take the risk of communicating with him, even if he claims to have something to ask you. Edwina thought for a moment before saying, "There's no need to take risks. I can communicate with him through you." How will that work? Or should I say, what do I need to do? I need you to hold a ritual, he said. She said. It's called the Soul Fall ritual. It allows my soul to pass through the spirit world and attach to your body. I'll be able to converse directly with Gehrman. It works on anyone below that of a demigod, with an effective distance of no more than 500 nautical miles. I really think she's sequence 5 of the Mystery Prior pathway. With how much she knows about the spirit world and rituals and stuff, that sounds like it. I mean, that's his boss, it makes sense. Yeah, like everyone would do that. It involves reason and communication, and it belongs in the realm of the god of knowledge and wisdom. You must draw the corresponding symbols and magic labels. In mysticism, the blue planet corresponds to the god of knowledge and wisdom. Mercury, brass, lavender, pepper, and mint are needed. Blue planet corresponds to Saturday. The time of the blue planet is from midnight to 1 on Friday, and 11 to noon on Saturday, Edwina explained. As he listened, he suddenly felt at a loss. Why do I need to attend classes even in my dreams? In his bedroom, Klein, who was sleeping, was suddenly jolted awake, having sensed something. He got out of his bed and listened for a moment. In the living room, although Dennis was snoring, his breathing was calmer than before. It wasn't too strange, but was sufficiently unusual for an experienced senior expert in mysticism like Klein, who had been through a lot. He softly walked through the door that separated the bedroom from the living room, reached for the handle, and slowly turned it. Without a sound, Klein walked out of the bedroom and saw Dennis sleeping in his chair, fast asleep. Everything appeared normal. Klein quietly activated his spirit vision and checked on Blazing, but didn't find anything amiss. After watching for a while, Klein frowned and took out a silver charm. Dream Charm! Charizard! In the dream, Dennis was learning about the Soul Fall ritual with a bitter expression. He had no doubt that the captain in front of him was genuine. No one can fake such a style and hobby. Man, Klein is really an expert. He has stopped God's Descending twice. True. Kind of even 3 times if you think about, if you consider the primordial demoness and twice the true creator. You can even say it 3 times. At that moment, he heard the sound of the lock turning. Subconsciously, Dennis looked around the bedroom where the crack in the door was widening, and Gehrman, who was wearing a shirt, walked out expressionlessly. You! How did you appear here? This is my dream! With one hand in his pocket, Klein walked towards the woman with her back to the window and said, "A charm." Then, looking at the woman, he said with almost certainty, "Edwina Edwards?" Her attire is a little strange. Chad move, absolute Chad move, dude. This is what Andrew Tate wishes in his wet dreams he could be like. She doesn't look like an adventurer, much less a pirate. She looks like a woman with a decent job. Edwina nodded slightly and replied, "Gehrman? Gehrman Sparrow," she asked. "Yes, good afternoon, ma'am." Klein smiled slightly, pressed his hand to his chest, and bowed. Edwina nodded and replied, "Good afternoon." Klein, who was maintaining his persona, stopped talking, waiting for the other side to take the initiative about his purpose. He looked at Edwina, and Edwina looked at him. There was a sudden silence in the dream for several minutes. From time to time, Dennis looked from right to left, having a baffled feeling that perhaps all of this might be a dream. I love that. Klein is like pretending to be awkward, and Edwina is actually awkward, and they're like, "Not me, you go first, bitch." 5:35. Look at that, Nagato. 6 minutes ahead of schedule. What's up now, motherfucker? I don't see you typing now. What's up? He might not even be here. I'm just so sick of him always being like, "You're behind schedule." I know I'm behind schedule. God damn it. I don't need you to tell me. I wanted to ask you, what current pathways do you think are interchangeable? Sure. We can, yeah, I got 5 minutes. We can do this right now. Fuck it. Let's go to the notes. So. Okay. That's fine. Sleepless Corpse Collector Giant Pathway. This part we know. So that's those 3. Barbarian set by Randall Lady and Bill. Okay, whatever. Sun Sailor Reader. That's 6. Oh, Nagito told me. Oh, kind of didn't tell me, but kind of fucking walked me to it. So, Hunter and Assassin can be interchanged with. So that's 8. Whatever. This was the first time. Klein believes Apprentice and Seer. 10. Mutant and Criminal. 12. Yeah, so I've got those 12. Was that your deduction or Nagito's? I mean, in the most vague bullshit answer sense, my deduction. But Nagito was like, "Hey, search up the Assassin pathway. Show me your notes on it." Okay. Now show me your notes on the Hunter pathway. Okay. Now show me your notes on the Primordial Demoness. Okay. So, like, in the most rough bullshit way, my deduction, but he kind of, what's that saying? Like, you can make a horse, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink, sort of bullshit. So, side note, Prisoner pathway is the mutant pathway. Oh, this is true. I do know this. Okay, so we have a trial to plan now. Again, we don't do that over here, Ramiro. If you wanna time him out, feel free, but we don't do trials, okay? Fond of teaching. Okay. Unable to tolerate the situation, Danitz decided to do something. He coughed twice and said, "Captain, this Mr. Gehrman Sparrow has some questions for you." Phew, Klein let out a sigh of relief. If this stare down continued, he felt as if his persona would collapse. Edwina nodded gently at Klein and said, Mr. Spearman, what the fuck? Mr. Sparrow, Have you received an education? What kind of question is this? Klein's expression didn't change as he replied indifferently. University grad. Danitz looked at Gehrman in surprise, unable to believe the fact that this lunatic had actually gone to university and graduated. He had no way of putting a university, a hallmark of wisdom, with that of Gehrman Sparrow. Unless it's some Hunter University or Killer Academy, or a university that only exists in the fantasies of madmen and lunatics, Danitz couldn't help but lampoon. Oh my god, someone send this to Andrew Tate. Hunter University, Killer Academy, this is what he should name his new course. What the fuck? That's right up his alley. So you don't believe in the justice system? I do for real life, bro, but for spoilers for a thing, Yarnum Central University, yes. Edwina didn't seem surprised and asked, what languages have you mastered? Jotun, Elvish, Dragonese, Ancient Hermes, Faesac, Loanese. Do you understand the other domains in mysticism? Feeling adrift for a moment, Klein felt he had returned to his previous elementary school days. Due to his age and handicap, he had been asked a series of questions by his teachers, such as how many Chinese characters he had mastered, and if he had mastered the 4 arithmetic operations, whether he knew the English alphabet, or how many Tang Dynasty poems he could recite. Calm down. You're Gehrman Sparrow now. Klein once again said without emotion, adept. Come on, it's a good role play. I have to combine your... Edwina thought for 2 seconds and said, I have to combine your standard of knowledge with how I would answer the questions so that you can understand the answers more easily. This. Klein was surprised to find that the beautiful lady in front of him was nothing like an adventurer acting as a part-time pirate. She was basically a teacher with a cold expression, but a kind and patient attitude. This is the first pirate admiral I'm officially meeting. She's indeed unique. Klein sighed and asked, first question, where did the Beyonder creatures appear at sea, the commonly seen ones? He didn't directly ask about mermaids, as he didn't want her to see through his real purpose, which would lead to unnecessary accidents. Edwina thought for a moment, then wiped the soulfall ritual off the blackboard, and then wrote and drew. Set off from Sonia Island, sail 1,200 nautical miles in this direction, and you'll reach the depths of the sea which humans have never explored. I mean, Bullseye speaking from experience as a victim once. Wait, what do you mean a victim? Was Bullseye spoiled, or did he do something that he was on trial for? There is a Naga tribe active here. They've been working hard to find the underwater city, which has been rumored to have a powerful demon sealed within. That's the entity of their faith. To Klein's dismay, there were no mermaids anywhere except the eastern waters of Gargos Archipelago. He calmed his mood and asked, second question, do you know how to remove the mental corruption of a Beyonder characteristic? I don't know. However, I once imagined that it's possible by borrowing the power of an external force and completely crushing the corrupted Beyonder characteristic to reduce it to the smallest speck of light. That way, regardless of whether it's corrupted or cursed, they will scatter due to having lost their vassal, and will rapidly and slowly vanish. As for the shattered characteristic, it will bit by bit, due to its particular trait, regain its form again. Unfortunately, only gods can do this. If you get the favor of a god, you can try to please them by offering enough sacrifices and praying for a response. The law of convergence of Beyonder characteristics, Klein thought with his mind. Klein thought in his mind, rather, sorry. Write that down? True. Yes, I will do that. Okay, so at least he now has a way to remove a characteristic. I don't know if he has the power to do it as the Fool right now, but okay, at least he has a way. That is smart though. Why didn't I think of that? That's so obvious. Just crush it so the corruption gets removed. The characteristic will come back due to the law of characteristic conservation. True. Or indestructibility rather, not conservation. Bullseye was once on trial. Bullseye got beheaded on trial. He was accused of genocide and multiple cases of first-degree murder. What do you mean, Bullseye? What did you do? At the same time, he couldn't help but sigh. The Vice Admiral Iceberg was extremely knowledgeable in mysticism. She wasn't worse than him, someone who had read many of Rozelle's diary and experienced many things. It was said that Vice Admiral Iceberg can replicate or simulate the beyonder powers of her opponents when they use them in front of her. This is similar to Isengard Stan's 281 ring. As soon as Klein's thoughts began to wander, he forcibly reined them back and nodded. I agree with this hypothesis. Regretfully, I haven't done it in practice. It's only conjecture, Edwina said. Danitz, who had been listening, was dazed, unable to keep up with the conversation at all. What the hell are they talking about? Why do I know every word but know nothing when they're strung together? What's a beyonder characteristic? What does shattering it do? What the fuck? At this point, Klein asked a third question. Where can you find ancient wraiths? He only mentioned this kind of monster because the corresponding ingredients could be used in the domain of death, and it didn't expose the secrets of his own sequence. Edwina glanced at Danitz and said, I'll keep an eye out for you. If you want to attend Bayam's Beyonder gathering, he knows a few. He can take you there. Not bad. It's easier to talk to smart people, Klein added. Do you know where there are people who can make mystical items out of characteristics or ingredients? I met one at a gathering, but he never showed up again, Edwina answered. I have grasped the corresponding knowledge. I can simulate it, but I can't guarantee the success rate. How much do you know about the Death's Key? Little. An iron black key suddenly appeared in Edwina's hand. It was about the size of a lyre. Lear? Lear. Its shape was ancient and it had a dark luster. The pirate admiral said while half carrying the item from the shipwreck, if you mean this key, then I can tell you that it belongs to the giants. Klein glanced at Danitz. Your boatswain told me that it can also belong to a dragon or a demonic wolf. That was the earliest guess. I found some historical documents, and with the help of other items on the ship, I have a rudimentary idea. Danitz curiously asked, Captain, is it really the giants? Yes. That batch of documents showed that there were still many giants active in the Fourth Epoch. Some of them had switched fates from the god of combat, while others were left scattered, becoming the hunting targets of humans. One of the tribes built a ship and tried to find the lost giant king's court at sea, never to return. The giant king's court is the City of Silver, or in the City of Silver at least. The sunken ship we discovered, along with some of the items inside, are very similar to the relics they left behind in their original settlement. So we have enough reason to believe the key belonged to the giants, and it's very likely to be pointed towards the lost giant king's court of their race before the cataclysm. Giant King's Court? Little Sun said it's not far from the City of Silver. Klein didn't say a word, but listened to the Vice Admiral's description. I have to say, the City of Silver and the Forsaken Land of Gods are things that I know completely surpass other Beyonders. Even the Seven Gods can't find that place, or they find it hard to figure out the exact situation. In this aspect, I'm stronger than them. Hell yeah. If I offer a sufficient price, are you willing to sell the key? Of course. Unless I acquire additional clues to the Giant King's Court, Edwina continued to speak. Very good. If the Terror Club organizes an expedition to the Giant King's Court one day, I will buy this key. Klein was about to ask the last question when he suddenly remembered the 4 adventurers. He conjured them up using the power of the dream charm. Do you know them? Edwina took a glance and said almost without thinking, Letitia Dolera, an archaeologist and adventurer. Rumor has it that she's a member of the Moses Ascetic Order or the Element Dawn. Moses Ascetic Order? The ancient organization that believes in the hidden sage? It really isn't for money, and their goal is something from the abandoned temple. Wait, hold on. Let me copy paste that stuff about the key. Hold on. You said, what do you know about the Element Dawn? Klein asked. They've always been fighting against the Moses Ascetic Order. Rumor has it that the eldest daughter of Emperor Roselle, Bernadette Gustave, established it. Finally! We're getting something! We're getting something about Bernadette. I've been so curious about her for so long. The Element Dawn is headed by Bernadette? Zaratul's prophecy is quite accurate after all. She really can be considered an important figure in the Beyonder world. One last question, he asked. Are you interested in cooperating? She is beefing with the Hidden Sage W. True! Anyone who's willing to fight the Hidden Sage has my undying love, okay? Because that bitch got my goat. The Oa got my bitch. What the fuck? Got my goat. Old Neil killed, okay? So, fuck that guy. Anyone who's willing to fight him, my goat, Bernadette. I knew you were gonna be super cool, my love. I haven't even met you yet. I know we're gonna be great friends. Just you wait. Are you interested in cooperating? Klein asked. What kind of cooperation? Hunt of Admiral of Blood. Add that to the notes. Already added. Romero. Yes, let's go. Kill some more pirates. Fuck them, really. Yeah, my goat, Klein. Let's go. Holy shit, I am so here for it. Oh my god. Local faith. If Klein starts believing in the Lord of Storm in this persona, that he now believes in all 3 of the... Have you been praising the true creator lately? No, not at all, Bullseye. What? I hate that bitch. Fuck him. Wait, sorry. Hold the fucking phone. I'm hearing something out loud. Sorry, I'm hearing something outside. Hold on. Give me 1 sec. Okay, never mind. It's all good. It is raining hard as fuck, though. Jesus. Oh, good lord. What? Hunt the Admiral of Blood? His first reaction was that he misheard. However, Gehrman's smile, with the hidden madness and the slightest movement of the captain's eyebrows, reminded him that was what he had really said. This lunatic is really daring. This is one of the 7 pirate admirals. That people that a character like Steel Mavetti can't be... They aren't people that a character like Steel Mavetti can be compared with. Denitz's pupils shrank. His heart was on the brink of roaring. Putting aside the fact that the Admiral of Blood's Seigneur's own might, just the pirates underneath are intimidating enough. His first mate and third mate, and the captains of each ship are capable of independently leading a giant crew. There are still many on the crew which Steel Mavetti had brought to Bayam with him in the Blood Pirate crew. When the Vice Admiral, Hurricane, died silently like a dog in Backland, it was mainly because he wasn't with his crew. But the Admiral of Blood Seigneur is different. He seldom leaves his flagship and rarely leaves the company of his own men. Even if the focus is placed back on Seigneur's strength, it would still be terrifying. He's mysterious, bizarre, and one of the few powerhouses at sea who is second only to the Four Kings. Even Captain might not dare to claim to be his superior. A madman's guts really do exceed my imagination. No, he doesn't even know the meaning of fear at all. The death and replacement of a pirate admiral will definitely be a great shock to the Five Seas. One thought after another flashed through Danitz's mind before he calmed down. It was because he recalled that Gehrman was a powerhouse at the level of the 7 admirals, and there might be an organization backing him. Edwina said after a few seconds of silence, "Do you know of the Rose School of Thought?" "I've hunted their members." Edwina fell silent again. Next to him, Dennis had various thoughts. What the hell are they talking about? What's the Rose School of Thought? Where am I? Whose dream is this? Edwina then said, after a huge battle with the Vice Admiral Dusk's pirate crew, Seigneur's crew vanished. At present, no one knows where they are. One will have to wait patiently. "I do not lack patience," Klein revealed with a smile. "How can I contact you?" "He knows how." "Me? Wait a minute. Captain, you mean I have to follow this madman during this time? No, who knows when he'll go insane? Captain, I've already left the Golden Dream for too long. I've missed too many lessons. I can't wait to return. I believe we can switch to someone else, like Ironskin or Beryl. Bro, why are you such a bitch? You're having such a good time with Gehrman. Like, you're a little scared, but like, you're doing fine." She looked slightly to the side and said without expression, "What did you say?" "I couldn't hear it." "Roselle's dream spell is reaching its limits." The pirate admiral's skirt fluttered slightly as she took a step back before her figure turned faint, reducing into fragments of light. The rest of Danitz's words were stuck in his throat. He stretched out his hand in an attempt to grasp something, but ended up weakly drooping down. Roselle's dream spell? The Emperor's presence in the field of mysticism is quite formidable also. The full name of Vice Admiral Iceberg is Edwina Edwards. Edwards. Isn't this the surname of one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? One of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? What the fuck? Is this in my notes? Edwards. Do I have this note anywhere? I don't have this in my notes anywhere. Why don't I have this? I don't have this in my notes. However, from the tone of the Vice Admiral, she isn't familiar with the eldest daughter of the Emperor Bernadette. They might not even know each other. Klein looked at Danitz, whose expression had completely collapsed, and let out a soft laugh. "Perhaps one day I will call you Mr. 10,000 pounds. You'll still wash my fucking clothes, bitch." Danitz straightened his back in fright. Then he saw Gehrman's figure disappear from his dream. If I were only sequence 7 and had a bounty of 7,000 or 8,000 pounds, then I would be targeted everywhere I go. Danitz stood up, rooted in his dream, his head hurting more than he had thought, the more he thought about it. "You don't have the 4 horsemen?" "I don't think so." This is literally the only time the 4 horsemen show up in my notes. Initially, he had determined from the appearance of the Pirate King and the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse that Roselle had somehow crossed 3 to 5 years, but now he couldn't. That's literally the only time the horsemen showed up in my notes. If there's something more, I don't have it. They were mentioned at like chapter 59. I'm supposed to know this? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, chapter 59. I'll finish this chapter, then we'll head back and grab those notes, okay? Bro, he's making callbacks to 500 chapters ago. This man's out of his fucking mind. Why would he do this? In the evening, Danitz looked at Gehrman Sparrow, who was dressed as a native. Today we'll be visiting the local faction. We might find some good things there. We have a great need of Beyonder ingredients, food, and weapons. Take the notes, man. Bro, chapter 59. I think that's my first ever stream. Let me check actually. I think my first ever stream was chapter 59. You think I'm supposed to have notes from back then? Are you out of your fucking mind? My first ever stream was chapter 54 to 58. That was like about 3 months ago. You think I have notes from back then? Are you fucking insane? Dude, what is this song? I love this. Only like 2 of the 4 horseman names were dropped though, I think. Oh, okay, cool. Dude, I love this song from Lies of P. I find this, it's so beautiful. I love this. Okay, let's keep going. At this point, Danitz looked at Gehrman up and down. It was rare for him to find something that he was better at than him. He said with a smile, "Their area is filled with local people. There aren't even many people with mixed blood. If there's even the slightest sign of abnormality in their clothing, you will be discovered. Your pantaloons and brown jackets are fine, but you can't wear a shirt indoors. A real native wears Taraba shirts. They're similar to the Sea Soul shirts, but they're either all blue or white. They don't wear caps, headscarves, or anything." Time to do a review of notes. My notes are all available for everyone to see in the Discord. Yeah, but like my notes need like a huge fucking overhaul because I know there's so much info I'm missing. But like, have you ever been in a class and you've skipped so much of the class and you show up near the end? And I don't mean like so much of one class. I mean like so much of the class in general over the course of a semester or a year. And you show up near the end of it and you're sitting there and the teacher's trying to explain to you what's going to be on the final. And you're sitting there and you're like, dude, there's so much I don't know. I don't even know what I don't know, which is like the most fucked situation to be on. Because like, if you have a rough idea of like what the teacher's talking about, you're like, okay, listen, like chapter 18, I didn't study that one, so I need to go do that. Chapter 22, I don't have a great understanding. I do a lot of review notes. I'll go do that, okay? Whereas when the teacher's like, hey, so today we're talking about the Pythagoras theorem, which yes, really obvious. And we're also talking about like, and we're talking about like spirit, and we're talking about like wavelengths, and we're talking about like waveforms and all this shit. And you're just going, dude, I don't even know what the words she's saying. I don't even know where to find them in my notes. I don't even know what chapter to look at in the fucking textbook. That is the worst feeling to have, because you're sitting there, you're like, I know I'm fucked. I just didn't realize how fucked I am until I realized I don't know where to start. That's me with the Lord of the Mysteries notes. Like, I know I'm missing a lot. I don't know where to find them. I'm just fucked at this point. It's too late. Also, people like you who look obviously low on ease will encounter very serious discrimination and hostility there. Like a wolf that sneaks into a flock of sheeps. Or like a wolf that sneaks into a flock of sheep. You can't hide your existence. Before he could finish, he saw Gehrman tilt his head, look at him, and change. His fair skin was instantly stained with the color of bronze. In a snap, he became an undeniable native who didn't stand out at all. After a few seconds of silence, Danitz laughed as if nothing happened. Me too. I have to disguise myself. Your disguise? What local faction? It actually trades Beyonder ingredients, food, and weapons? To put it simply, the resistance. Danitz wasn't sure if Gehrman had any connections with the lone officials. Klein was startled for a second. Resistance? People who clamor for independence and for natives to administer their local affairs. Their encampment is deep in the woods or at sea. They cooperate with many pirates and adventurers. Of course, the ones backing them are either people from Fasak and Intes. Often, there will be priests from the god of combat and EBS secretly coming over. Bayam isn't that calm after all. After leaving the kingdom and coming to sea, Klein finally understood what it meant by the international situation. This wasn't something that could be compared to reading about wars in East Balam from the papers. Audrey's brother must hate the resistance. After leaving the Wind Azur Inn, Klein followed Danitz. They went through the back street, heading the way southeast. The roads that were split from each other were narrow and dirty, with many stalls on either side. They sold all kinds of headgear, earring, and accessories made of stone. They were mostly bright red or multicolored. What a bunch of strange fellows. They especially like bright colors, like those from venomous snakes in the forest, Danitz whispered. As someone from Intes, you're not much better. You advocate for the color of gold. You advocate a sense of luxury and exquisiteness. Just like a nouveau riche, Klein lampooned. They passed by a group of dark-skinned, skinny, shriveled natives entering the alley, which had clothes drying over their heads. The scenes before their eyes opened up, revealing a small municipal square. On the square, a group of locals were gathered around the central pond. Some were kneeling, others prostrating. Some were mumbling, and some were singing softly. In their devout expressions, they looked numb. As soon as they realized that someone was approaching, they got up and ran to the surrounding alley in a flurry. Don't worry, this is their way of protecting themselves. Oh? Before this place was completely colonized, the natives of the Rorstad archipelago always believed in the sea god Calvetua? They believed that this deity, who appeared in the form of a gigantic sea serpent, would protect all the islands here, preventing them from being devoured by earthquakes or tsunamis. Now that this belief has been outlawed, the Church of Storm has been constantly fighting against the heretics. Even the Church of Evernight and Church of Steam and Machinery are unable to expand their influence here, and there are only a few cathedrals. But in fact, how can the faith that has been here for centuries, if not a millennia, be so easily eradicated? If there are still plenty of believers in the sea god in Bayam, Blue Mountain Island, and Rorstad Sea. Even if a bunch of people are captured every 1 or 2 months, a situation in which they suffer all kinds of extreme punishments, it's impossible to reverse the situation anytime soon. The main resistance's pillar of support are the believers of the sea god. In my opinion, it will take at least another 100 years before the faith of the sea god completely disappears. Of course, that's under the premise that there isn't any disruptive elements. Also add Calvuta notes? Yes, I will. Sea god Calvetua. Its image is of a gigantic sea serpent. Danitz knocked on the door to his left. Who is it? A man asked. A friend who brings wine and barbecue. Where from? At sea. The door slowly opened and Klein saw a naked arm. The arm was tattooed with a blue, hideous sea serpent. Hold on. So, like, let's say, for example, if my theory is right... Holy shit. Just the lore section of my notes is now 36 pages. This is crazy. Yes. Also wanted to ask, what do you think of the captain? Oh, I love this captain, dude. I feel like she's gonna be so based. So if my theory is right, let's say the Lord of Storm is above, is like a super god, okay? He's super god. Let's say he's above sequence 0. I don't know if this is true actually, but let's just say it is, okay? Then Kalvatua can be just one of the sequence zeros under him. You know what I mean? So let's say there's 2 or 3. This one can be Calvet, whatever this fucking name, okay? But they all come under Lord of Storm. There are 3 separate pathways. I don't know if this actually works or if this tracks, but that would be my guess. Super gods. Hell yeah. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. You know what I'm talking about? 5:37. Nagito, are you still here, bro? We're 10 minutes ahead of schedule. Do I get any props? Oh, did he? Something happened IRL. Don't know if I'll be back. Oh, he did say that. Never mind. Okay. Behind the door was a bare-chested man with a hideous blue serpent tattooed on his arm and short streaks of red paint on the side of his cheeks, chest, and abdomen. Really exotic. But aren't you afraid of being too conspicuous and being caught by the cops while you're outside? You're part of the resistance that engages in secret operations. Klein was about to retract his gaze when he was almost forced to frown by the man's thick, messy eyebrows and cold-blooded eyes. He's killed many men, Klein made a rough judgment. Honestly speaking, due to his previous life's identity and knowledge, he had initially held a lot of sympathy for the rebels under the colonial rule, having no sense of belonging to Lowanese. However, after hearing that the man and the followers of the sea god basically engaged in the same acts, he was more wary and repulsed. So by your theory, why do you think the church is outlawing that religion? Well, why would the church... Kalvatua? Okay, that is much better, thank you. Why would the church outlaw? That's a good question. Let's think. Okay, first of all, the immediate answer I come to is like, listen, religion has never exactly had a lot of logic behind it. That shit is all just, hey, either you believe in what I'm saying or you fucking die. That doesn't have a lot of logic behind it. But let's say I want to rationally try to explain it. Let's go back to drawing for a second and try to talk through our logic, okay? So we believe in this. You want to believe here. Now, we shouldn't have any problem because this is basically just a part of this. Shouldn't be any issue. But I mean, the Church of Storm isn't really known for logic also. True. But even still, now that you asked me the question, let's try to logically see if I can find a rationale for it. I wouldn't want you to... Maybe because... This might be a really fucked logic, but maybe the sequence Z... Wait. Hold on. Oh, wait. Oh my God. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I'm actually cooking. Hold on. I might actually have something. Hold on. Okay, so we know if there's a sequence 0, there can't be a sequence 1. They're not allowed to be. There's not enough beyond our character. I don't fucking know how that works, but like enough beyond our characteristic for there to be any sequence 0s. So if there's a super god, then there can't be any sequence 0s. Then there can't be any sequence 0s. They're all crossed out. Does that work? I don't even know how you I don't even what I'm literally building a Jenga tower of bullshit right now, okay? Because I'm basing this off of the idea that there is a super god. I'm basing this idea that somehow gods become super gods by some characteristic. So like I'm basing a Jenga tower of ifs on top of ifs, okay? So all of this could be garbage. I want to be clear. But if one of these guys, but like I would imagine, in order to become a sequence 0, or sorry, so we know that in order to become a sequence 0, you have to get all 3 characteristics of a sequence 1. Like in order to be a sequence 0, you need to have 1, 1, 1. Okay, or right, to become this. So in order to become this, maybe you need all 2 or 3 or 4, whatever the fuck, of these. So if that's the case, then there is no more sequence 1s or 0s. They're all gone as soon as the super comes into being. If that's the case, then the Church of Storm would definitely not want someone believing in Kalvatua, because then eventually someone could backtrack like, hey, well, Kalvatua we believe in, and Kalvatua fucking died. Not too long later, Lord of Storm came into being. So maybe, like, Lord of Storm is actually a person, because that would be blasphemy. So the Church of Storm wouldn't want you to have that logic, rationale. So if they can get rid of anyone who believes in Kalvatua, anyone who believes in this bullshit, anyone who believes in this, everyone just believes in the Lord of Storm, who's a super god, and no one ever has that theory. Oh my God, that logic tracks. Oh my God, that logic tracks. By the way, I was okay. Since we're already on this note, when I was talking about this theory to Easy last weekend. By the way, if there's any rationale in my theory that's not working, someone please tell me, okay? But so we were talking about. I was talking to Easy about this on the weekend, right? When we were having our discussion, I was explaining my theory of super gods to him, and he said, "Well, if that was the case, like if there's a super god, then wouldn't?" Then he said something like, "Everything would lead back to the original creator." All right. But then I was thinking about that theory because it made a hole in my argument that I couldn't explain. But then I thought about it. If everything led to the, if let's say super gods wasn't real and it was just leading to the original creator, then wouldn't the original creator want that all 22 pathways would be interchangeable? Because all the original creator would want is someone to get up to sequence 0 and super god so that he can come back into being. There's so many errors everywhere. I'm so fucked. Okay? So the fact that all 22 pathways are not interchangeable implies that it doesn't lead to the original creator. So this theory is wrong. I found the hole in Easy's argument. Okay. It took a while, and it took a lot of thought, but I got there. If I'm not just talking out of my asshole, which there's like a 85% chance I am. 70% chance. I like this theory. We're going to give it a 1 in 3 chance of working out. Actually, let's do a divination. Fuck this. Fuck everything else. Oh, that's not a good start. Okay. Is my theory on why the Church of Storm does not want people believing in Kalvatua accurate? No, sorry. No, that's not how a divination statement would be made at all. Never mind. My statement in why the Church of Storm does not wish for people to believe in Kalvatua is correct. What the fuck did I just do? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm too stupid. Never mind. My theory on why the Church of Storm does not wish for people to believe in Kalvatua is true. Interference! It took all my money! No! No! Interference! Come on! You can't do this to me! Come on! That was all I had! What the fuck? Come on! Fuck! Oh, come on! No, I don't have enough money for that. Never mind. Hold on. Okay. My divination, my statement on why the Church of Storm does not wish for people to believe in Kalvatua is correct. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, I thought I had that in the bag so good, dude. Oh my god. No, hold on. Withdraw, hold on. We're actually cooking, okay? Hold on. No, you can't just let me do this. How do I withdraw from the bank? There's gotta be a freaking... Thank you. Okay. The last divination was a false negative. No! No! Oh god! No! I'm so cooked! No! I can't do this anymore! No! Come on! I can't. I don't have it in me to do it again. I don't have it in me. I'm not strong enough. I'm not strong enough. Okay. Okay. This wasn't to say that he discriminated against the local faith, but rather he understood that his traditional faith of the local colonies was still in a primitive stage that believed in sacrifice. They worshipped with blood, living sacrifices, and were still in a state of complete ignorance. In addition, with the experiences of the Emperor and myself, the beyonder nature of this world is filled with madness and twistedness. A deity still in the primitive stage of sacrifice is basically unable to resist this trend. It's quite obvious what kind of style they follow. Without a word, Klein followed Danitz into the room. Edmonton, who's here? A mild voice asked from an area near the window. The tattooed man said they've disguised themselves. It's explaining the fucking kitchen, and I don't really give a shit about what the room looks like. There were 4 or 5 men standing in the bedroom's doorway in the living room. All of them were dark-skinned natives with curly hair. They wore dark blue Taraba shirts and had more or less red paints on their bare skin. As for the sea serpent tattoos, Klein couldn't tell if they were there or not because of the clothing. Some of them had revolvers on their waists, some had hunting rifles, and some even carried steel backpacks with long, thick, high-pressure steam rifles. They formed a semicircle around Danitz and Klein, who had just entered the room. The man who spoke was in a wheelchair. Was a wheelchair-bound man in his 40s. He wore a jacket and a blanket over his knees. He had a shaved head and a slightly green beard on both sides of his face. He glanced at the visitor and slowly smiled. Blazing! Kalat, you have a good eye. God, am I bad at disguising myself? He roared inwardly. I heard that you killed Steel and Blood Brambles? How else would they be dead? Danitz retorted. Yeah, Moon, about the last 10 minutes. I don't even know if it's that long, but yeah. Kalat narrowed his eyes, shifting his gaze to Klein, who had a featureless face. He knew very well that blazing Danitz alone would have a hard time killing Blood Brambles Henry, much less steal Mavetti. His success was rumored to be due to the help of a powerful adventurer. Is that the person beside him? He looked into Klein's eyes and didn't see any nervousness, worry, or vigilance. His eyes were like the deep ocean. It could be. At the very least, he's stronger than Blazing. He signaled to Edmonton and the others with his eyes, secretly informing them to be on guard. What are you doing here? Kalat asked. Here to see what good things you have to offer. This pasta's good as fuck? That's good to hear, man. Kalat pointed to a table and said, It's all placed there. There were many strange and different items laid out, including a whistle made of bone, a simple crude bagpipe, an iron black leaf, and a rock stained with blood. Kalat clapped his hands and said, I have a mission. If you can complete it, you can freely choose an item at no additional cost. By the definition of you foreigners, they aren't mystical items, but they have some supernatural powers. But it will slowly weaken until it disappears. What mission? Klein asked. He reached into the blanket that extended to his knees and took out a stack of white paper. Find out where they are. If you can catch them directly, you will get even more. He raised his hand and began to display lifelike portraits, including a lady with greenish-gray eyes in a man's shirt. Letitia Delora, Klein recognized. It was the female archaeologist and adventurer he met last night. She was suspected to be a member of the Moses Ascetic Order or the Element Dawn. Danitz looked at it closely for 2 minutes and found the picture vaguely familiar. Suddenly he remembered where he had seen her. Gehrman Sparrow had shown it in his dreams. He had just asked the captain about it in the afternoon, and we're already bumping into something relevant in the evening? Isn't he too resourceful at gathering information? Danitz resisted the urge to glance at the adventurer beside him. The Resistance, who believe in the Sea God, are looking for Letitia. The faith of the Sea God spreads throughout the Rorstad archipelago, including Saimim. There was a snake last night. The image of the Sea God is that gigantic sea serpent. Klein superimposed the two matters together and quickly came to a preliminary conclusion. Archaeologist Letitia and company had obtained an important item involving the Sea God in a forgotten temple in the ancient forgotten forest of the Saimim Island. Hence, it resulted in last night's probing and Resistance's search. Klein thought for a moment and said, I'll keep an eye out. I won't randomly involve myself in matters related to evil spirits. Of course, if it's necessary, I'll report it to the officials, he added inwardly. Kalat nodded. Take a look first and see if there's anything you want. Klein walked over, and just as he was about to inquire about the selection, he sensed something and subconsciously looked towards the right side of the item pile. It was a short sword made of thin bones, slightly longer than a forearm, and a milky white body. There were a few dark red stripes on it. Am I crazy? But, nope, not the wrong... Fucking, Jesus Christ, not the right one. Thin sword made of thin bones, longer than a forearm. A milky white body. Does this not remind you of the sword that the sword of the goddess has? Crescent Sesamir? I feel like it reminds me a lot of that. Everything is a revelation for a seer? Yeah, except the 3 back-to-back bullshit fucking revelations I just got. Fuck it. I mean, all bone swords are white? Okay, smartass. God. Klein stretched out his right hand in an attempt to pick up the sharp bone sword that was placed right in front of him to examine it. The moment his fingers touched the sword, cries of despair and pain suddenly echoed in his mind. A thick stench of blood faintly appeared at the tip of his nose, and he seemed to see many distorted, rotten, illusory figures covered in mucus. Klein's forehead ached as he was pierced by a needle and retracted his fingers, a little sinister. It's not a simple item. Klein, who had experienced things far more intense, only showed a slight change in expression. He resisted the urge to activate his spirit vision, afraid that he would see something he shouldn't. See? Even just that, he was scared to activate his spirit vision. The only other time that I remember this happening was with Megos. And that was like a fucking god descending. Decomposed bones can be black or they're burned. True. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. Jesus Christ. Okay. That was way more full than I anticipated. Fuck. For fuck's sake. Whatever. Noticing this, Kalat exchanged glances with Edmonton and said, "This bone sword is capable of draining an enemy's blood. It's not bad. Do you want it?" "No, there's nothing here I want." If Kalat hadn't asked, he even planned on buying the bone sword and researching it above the grey fog. But the fact that he promoted it left him vigilant, and he rationally abandoned his original plans. "It's not expensive at all. Or do you need to look at something else?" "There's no need." Klein's people shrank as he turned and walked out the door. Danitz hesitated momentarily before hurrying after him. Canada really fucks up your sense of American English. Well, yeah, because our English is like the most fucked version, Devil. We have like a bit of English and a bit of American. So our English is just like fucked. That was a crackpot theory. Fuck you, Moon. Okay? Wow. I feel like every time Moon listens to a theory, he has nothing but bad shit to say about it. Edmonton, who had a sea serpent tattoo on his arm, watched silently. He seemed as if he would reach out to stop them at any moment, but in the end didn't. They were the powerful adventurers who killed Steel Mavetti and Blood Brambles Hendry. Once out of the room, Klein stomped down the stairs without saying a word. Danitz ran after him, alarmed. Based on his take of the situation, he didn't inquire about the situation and only followed. The two quickly returned to the square, and the crowd, which gathered once again to either kneel or prostrate, scattered once more. But unlike before, there was a man who had remained kneeling on the ground, motionless. Klein didn't even glance at him as he walked past without stopping. However, Danitz had taken a subconscious look, only to discover that the man's face was as dry as a weathered rock. A piece of flesh from the man's cheek fell to the ground. It was a piece of grayish skin with facial hair attached to it. He seemed to have lost all the moisture in his body. Danitz was startled and didn't dare look again, feeling that things had become strange and dangerous. The two of them passed through the alley, left the city, and boarded the carriage. The carriage driver was obviously a native, around 40 years old, and his laughter was pleasing, but along the way he didn't say a word. It was so quiet that it made Danitz feel like his heart was beating like a drum. Klein remained silent. The rental carriage quickly arrived at the dock area. In order to change his attire, Danitz got it to stop a distance from Acid Lemon Street. He got off the carriage. Klein didn't pay the fare or stop. He immediately took a large stride and left, leaving Danitz stunned. He tossed 2 solai to the carriage driver and hurriedly chased after Gehrman. After a few steps, he looked back and saw the driver kneeling down with a face full of zeal and devoutness. He leaned over the ground and pressed the ground where Klein had stepped. Something more creepy? Okay. This might be too creepy, but I don't know what level of creepiness is required. 538 Dispel. What's happening? Danitz couldn't believe what he was seeing. This didn't shock him, but it left him inexplicably terrified. What exactly happened? Why did things become so strange? Danitz took a breath, forcing himself to turn his head, and chased after Gehrman. He found the crazy adventurer walking faster and faster, to the point where he had to run to keep up. Crossing the street and through the alley, Danitz suddenly saw a greenish shadow fall from the tree. Its body was covered in scales as it twisted its slippery body and had a triangular head. It extended its scarlet forked tongue and was none other than a rather long venomous snake. Dog shit! Why are there snakes? Why would there be snakes this season? Danitz wasn't afraid of such a creature. He had even roasted snake meat before. What the fuck? But it was the abnormality of everything that left him agitated. Circling around the coiling snake, Danitz subconsciously looked left and right and found that on both sides of the gutter there were a pair of cold, vertical, different-colored eyes looking out. Danitz felt a chill running down his spine, as if his scalp had been pierced by a dense array of fine needles. He didn't dare to stay any longer, nor did he dare to leave. He increased his speed again and followed closely behind Gehrman. Entering the Wind of Azure Inn, he couldn't help but look up as he walked up the stairs, wanting to ask something. Suddenly his chest tightened and his breathing stagnated. At that moment, it was as if he had dived to the bottom of the sea, being pressed down by the heavy torrents of water from every direction. Faintly, Danitz heard the rush of the tide and saw a faint illusory light surround Gehrman Sparrow, as if forming an endless, bottomless blue ocean. Within that ocean, there was an enormous azure blue figure holding up everything. It resembled a tower. Danitz's right foot stopped in midair, unable to lower his foot. Any idea what's happening? I figure it has something to do with the sword, maybe? That he touched? But I might be wrong. I have no fucking clue what's happening. He wasn't unfamiliar with such feelings. Back at the last pirate convention, the King of the Five Seas, Nast, was even more imposing and terrifying than this. Almost all the pirates couldn't lift their heads. Even the powerhouses at the admiral rank could barely resist. Danitz knew very well that it wasn't the result of Gehrman's own power. Herbal Chaos, thanks for popping by. There's like a 60% chance you're Dr. Z. I don't even know if that's possible, but Nast Aura farming at Pirate Meat's true. If he was at the level of a demigod, there would be no need to include the mandated punishers during his hunt of Steel Mavetti. Ocean, tide. These two terms flashed through Danitz's mind, and immediately thought of the matter of the Resistance's faith in the sea god Kalvatua. Could it be that Gehrman suffered the sea god's curse via an unknown process when he touched the bone sword? The devotee's corpse that lost all its moisture is one of the conditions of the sea curse's activation. When the carriage driver prostrated and kissed the ground, was it because he sensed the sea god's aura? Man, Gehrman could die today. Should I stay away from him to be implicated? At the very most, I'll come back to collect his corpse. You were saying, devil. You were saying. It might still be possible to save him. I can use the Soulfall ritual to seek the captain's help. She knows many things. She should be able to help. No. The Soulfall ritual has a requirement of being within 500 nautical miles. They're still en route. It would take at least half a day to enter that stage. As he desperately tried to think of something, Danitz stopped panicking and treaded steadily into the luxurious suite with Gehrman. Klein stayed silent, but his dark brown eyes seemed to have a rich azure blue color that was nearing the color of black. He went straight to the bedroom and locked the door behind him. Dennett stood there in a dilemma, whether to flee or save the man. Inside the bedroom, Klein closed his eyes and went above the grey fog, chanting a statement with each step. A wave of manic or high-pitched raving suddenly rang in his ears as his spirit body shot above the grey fog. Without a sound, he heard an indescribable shrill and painful howl. Klein appeared above the ancient palace. In the motionless grey fog below, an illusory, gigantic, azure-blue sea serpent appeared. I panic when I want to lie. Okay. It was located in an ancient dark ruin. It coiled around a half-collapsed pillar. Its hideous head was raised, and its bloody mouth was wide open, revealing many curved fangs that no longer supported a human's forearm. This sea serpent madly swung its tail, setting off terrifying waves and ridiculous ripples, causing the entire ruins to sway as if it was about to collapse. The scene rapidly shattered and dimmed. Regardless of how the unimaginably large sea serpent struggled, it was unable to turn the situation around. All it could do was let out a long, painful scream in agony as it was reduced to points of light before disappearing into the grey fog. Klein sat in his high-backed chair belonging to the Fool and watched everything. He didn't make any superfluous actions for a long time. The grey fog silently spread out and the scene returned to its normal, unchanging state. After nearly a minute, Klein leaned back in his chair and sighed. Sea god Kalvatua. After coming into contact with the bone sword, he had already felt the abnormality, and during his conversation with Kalat, he keenly discovered that a tiny, weak, but extremely cold and sinister energy had invaded his body and was slowly corrupting his soul. Klein made a prompt decision to turn around and leave. I can probably turn the music back to regular now, I think. He sensed that there was a connection between the sinister power and his surroundings. It gradually strengthened and slowly connected to an unknown place. Bro almost got infected by a nest. Okay. So he diverted attention to resist the corruption. He also controlled himself so as to not interact with his surroundings. Klein believed that as long as he responded to the abnormality on his journey back, it would only serve to intensify the corruption, making it irreversible. What did I tell you yesterday? Because Romero was saying that I directly told you that. You didn't directly tell me. No, I didn't. No, Romero, I said this. He did not tell me. I told you that. Hold on. At first, he wanted to find a nearby washroom and use the grey fog shielding and isolation to remove the power. But after repeated consideration, he decided to leave the area, because there were many followers of the sea god around, and it was extremely likely for an accident to happen. During this process, Klein grasped another point, which was that if he dispelled it ahead of time, the power projected by sea god Kalvatua would leave remnants in his flesh and blood. The consequences and effects would be unknown. He had no choice but to patiently wait for the opportunity to purify himself by waiting for the cold and sinister energy to thoroughly permeate his spirit. Bro basically gave it away. It's fine now. Reflecting on everything that had happened, Klein lightly rapped the edge of the table and muttered to himself, "It's not that strong." The level of the sea god was much lower than I expected. His original plan was to use the method that finished off Amon's avatar to deal with Kalvatua's projection. However, even after he had fused with the Black Emperor card or through his Paper Angel, Kalvatua ended up being dispelled by the grey fog without leaving a single trace. On this basis, Klein concluded that Kalvatua's level was inferior to Amon, even though it is possible that the latter was more adept at intrusion, but it had only been an avatar. I came back to make Romero see the truth. On this basis, Klein... No, was it thrown off its pedestal by the Lord of Storm? Or was it not even at the level of an angel? It's just slightly stronger than It's just a slightly stronger demigod that can respond to prayers of its believers within a certain range. Klein recalled and found that sea god Kalvatua was in an abnormal state. True, I guess that's possible. Someone else said that too, Dr. Z, but I don't remember that I made that theory. In hindsight, it feels so obvious, like they both allow you to change genders. It would make sense that they're interchangeable and that they're but I don't know, I don't remember that. I guess that's possible. Kalvatua could just be sea god Kalvatua could just be an angel who has become revered like a god. How does that affect your theory? It affects it severely. Romero. Because in theory, Kalvatua could just be an angel who came by here like thousands of years ago, or like 1,500 years ago or whatever, and just became revered as a god, even though he was only an angel. I say only, but you get the point. And the Church of Storm really doesn't want them to worship an angel instead of a god, because that would be like worship, to say it in a Christian sense, that would be like worshipping one of the original 12 believers of Christ instead of worshipping Christ himself. You know what I mean? It would be like, dude, you're looking one step too low. So I guess it could be that. But man, I really liked that theory. Fuck. All the same, I did like where it ended up. I liked where that theory ended up. I don't even know if that... I don't know if that... Because again, that theory is like playing 5D Jenga. Like I'm playing Jenga. I put in a piece, and then 5D Jenga, I go back in time and then take out the piece and then build on top of it again. But it's all fucking theoretical. Because like there's only one piece and I have it stacked in 8 different places. Like that's what I feel like right now. It'll be a spoiler if it isn't something he can't predict from the information he has. If he hasn't made the connection himself, providing him the answer, that's a spoiler. Although it's up to you if that's an acceptable way to be spoiled. Again, in my head, Giovanna, it isn't a spoiler, especially because like I had the knowledge to make that connection, I just didn't. If someone provides me with info I don't have, that's a spoiler for sure. Now, I want to be clear. There are levels. Like, okay, saying the hunter and assassin pathway are interchangeable is fine. But if you were to somehow come up and tell me like, hey, your theory on super gods is real. Okay, like I'm going to be really ticked about that. Because like I want to find out myself if I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, then why the fuck am I wrong? Right? Like I don't want someone to tell, like there are differences. Again, that's an arbitrary line and I don't know. And I don't have a hard one to give you. I just don't. But... you made that theory after matching Hunter with Assassin, Provoker with Instigator, Pyromaniac with Witch. Oh, that does sound like me. That does sound like a train of thought I could follow. True. Right now, me and one of my friends are trying to set up Bloodborne on PC. Ah, cool. You being excited about your theories is fun. Oh, thank you. There's still a lot in the story that has pieces laid out, but won't be... yeah, exactly. Moreover, it felt like it had fused with the spirit world in the ruins it was in, and it's precisely as a result of this that it was able to escape from the encirclement of the Church of Storm. Klein leaned back and made a guess. Giovanna, I do that. What happened today is definitely not a coincidence. It stems from the archaeologist Letitia's act of taking away some important artifact in the Forgotten Temple. It caused the sea god's Kalvatua's condition to instantly deteriorate when it was already barely surviving. It made it impossible to hold on to its existence. As it touched its believers to track the item, it also prepared to possess another body for its survival. That bone sword should have originated from its demigod body, and it hides a bit of power it protects. As long as the target is suitable, it will infiltrate the body of the person who touches it, corrupting the soul and establishing the coordinates. It will then allow its spirit to be transferred before it dissipates. But clearly it's not adept in such matters. It's not the snake of Mercury. It's unable to create a closed loop on itself for reincarnation. It's not like the blasphemer Amon, who can be a parasite inside one's soul. To really possess a body, it will directly cause its body to crumble and create a monster. According to this logical development, the dying Kalvatua will likely engage in many crazy actions in the near future, Klein frowned. He then returned to the real world, unlocked the door and opened it, and entered the living room. I'm gonna copy-paste this into my notes really quickly. Devil, you're jobless too, bro. What are you hassling him for? A job? Okay. Danitz looked up and down a few times and asked, Are you alright? It's settled. Settled? Danitz looked around before glancing at the bedroom, wondering if he had been hallucinating and that there wasn't any curse. What did he do in the bedroom? He lifted the curse in just a minute or two? This guy's insane. Besides a table covered with a significant number of miscellaneous items, Kalat, who wore a look of regret, looked at the tattooed man. What a pity. He didn't pick it up, just touched it. When an outsider picks up that holy sword, God will walk on the land again. What the fuck? Edmonton fell to his knees, as though confessing to a deity. As time passed, both Kalat and Edmonton suddenly heard two miserable shrieks. They looked up and saw that two of their companions had collapsed. Their skin was like a weathered rock, having lost all of its moisture. Kalat and Edmonton glanced at each other and felt a peculiar atmosphere. They both stood up at the same time and looked at the table. The holy sword cracked loudly, splintering into countless small pieces. Ah, get fucked, losers. Didn't work, my go. We don't speak those cursed words here. What sequence do you think Kalvatua is? Well, okay, so Amon is a king of angels. A king of angels is gotta be a sequence 1. Because an angel is a sequence 2, so king of angels should be 1. Kalvatua is significantly weaker than him. So he can be a 2. He could even realistically be a 3. So 2 or 3 would be my guess. If I had to say, we keep mentioning him as an angel, so I would say 2, but 2 or 3 is my guess. Okay, give me 2 seconds. So the same guess as ASIC sequence? Well, kind of. But the thing is, ASIC, I don't, he's never been described in any way as an angel. So I don't know if he's a 2. He might be, like his strength, at least to me, seems like it'd be befitting that of an angel. But the fact that he's never been referred to as an angel makes me think like maybe he's not. Maybe he's like 3 or 4. 4 somehow, I don't know how strong angels are, but 4 feels too weak for how based ASIC is, you know? One day your stream chat will no longer have any whimsy, and you will be like, how could this have happened? It's all so miserable. Not remembering that you chased away the whimsy and fun? What? How? Okay. How did I chase away the whimsy and fun? What? Yeah, bitch. Remember. Never mind. I love. It was on a 2-minute. It was on a 2-minute timer, Devil. ASIC did a 2v1 against 2 demigods. True. With a sealed artifact grade 0. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll say the same as ASIC. So 2 or 3. Yeah. 2 or 3. Kalvatua, since he keeps being mentioned as an angel, I would put more likely to be 2. ASIC is like 2 or 3, 50-50. I can't say more either way. What But what happens if the Holy Sword shatters? The 2 sentences echoed in the minds of Kalat and Edmonton. The matter was completely in the gaps of their knowledge. For a few seconds they stared at the shattered Holy Sword. They couldn't believe that the Holy Sword had been shattered. What does this mean? What does it represent? The 2 of them didn't dare think too deeply about it. They felt as if they had returned to the very beginning. Holding that Coke like you're sponsored. Back then, one of the secret bases in the Resistance had been discovered by the lone military. They were raided without warning, and this resulted in their father being killed in that massacre. Their female relatives were abducted and sold to different places. Before receiving the grievous news, the feelings that Kalat and Edmonton mirrored that day, felt that they mirrored what they felt today. Oh wait, this is the last chapter for today. Oh, cool. Sorry, I thought we were going to 40 for some reason. They felt heavy, confused, expectant, and unease. Return to the forest and find the high priest. Find out the reason. Perhaps this is the latest revelation from God, Kalat said. Edmonton stood up and said to his remaining subordinates, continue the search for those blasphemers. Do not stay here. Also, instruct the believers outside not to hold any rituals or even pray. The unexpected change in events made him extra vigilant. Sorry, I read Ramiro's message midway and it killed me. Quill wasn't even helping Ince. It was targeting his dignity. Okay, I will say, for the saying that Quill will always try to write in the death of its author, and it's also simultaneously trying to fucking straight up nuke. And it's not trying to kill him. It's like, oh, his pants fell down. Get fucked, a loser. So I think that's just funny, where like it realistically should be trying to kill him, but it's really just saying like, ha, your pants fell down. Everyone saw. Bayam in the corner of the street where the Cathedral of Waves was located. Holding a stack of white folded papers, Danitz turned his head to the side, feeling a mix of nervousness, worry, and puzzlement. You mean that I'm to post them in different parts of the street and finally post it on the main door of the Cathedral of Waves? Yes. His original plan was to hand the matters to Seagod Kalvatua to the Hanged Man, so that he could warn the Church of Storm. However, considering that he could still held the secret of Banshee Harbor, and that he might even have reported the manor, It would be easy to arouse suspicion with another piece of important information in such a short amount of time. I mean, it summoned a random... Wait, did the Quill do that, or did Azek do that? I thought Azek summoned someone to grab Ince. No? Was it the Quill? When a random angel level entity abducted him, it was a close call, I guess. Oh, that was the Quill? Oh, okay, never mind. Oh, okay. I guess that would do it, yeah. There was a small problem with Klein's plan. He couldn't tell which of the shops around the Cathedral of Waves was the cover identity of the mandated Punishers. All he could do was make Danitz work a little harder and stick the posters everywhere. I should have run away earlier. Why did I think that this fellow had saved my life? Perhaps I would have been converted into gold pounds if he were any other powerful adventurer. No, who would have imagined that this lunatic would easily resolve the Sea God's curse? Fleeing might have put me in an even worse situation. After Letitia Dolera and company entered and left the Sea God's ruin in Saimim Island, they were pursued by the Resistance. Meanwhile, Kalat and Resistance were trying to sell a strange bone sword that looked a little bent. Sea God Kalvatua's body is on the brink of collapse, with an extremely deranged mental state. Danitz froze for 2 seconds, then glanced at Gehrman. I understand the first few sentences, but why is there a mention of the Sea God being on the brink of collapse? How does Gehrman know? Did he discover a problem when dealing with the curse? And how did he deal with the curse? The organization behind him is more powerful than I thought. Could it be similar to the Aurora Order, in which they serve a real deity? The first time he heard of the Aurora Order had originated from a robbery at sea. Back then, it was the first time he saw his captain's serious expression. After that, he was taught some so-called general knowledge of the mysterious world. Klein responded to Danitz with an emotionless gaze. My homie mentioned, yes sir. In the poster, he had eliminated any subjective assumption. He had only described the matters that could be confirmed with certainty so as to not interfere with the judgment of the higher-ups of the Church of Storm. Among them, the content regarding an important item that Letitia and company had taken away was excluded. The Lost Temple was changed to a broader and more inclusive Sea God ruin. The base was obviously abandoned by Kalat and the others after realizing something happened to the Sea God. Danitz suddenly retracted his gaze, afraid to look any further. Captain said the more secrets someone has, the more dangerous they are. And then said, if we stick it on the front door of the cathedral, it will definitely garner a lot of attention from the Church of Storm. Will they discover that I was the one who did it? Yes. Then won't I be in danger? You were already a pirate who has a bounty for your head. But my bounty will increase. Klein looked at him and grinned a little. For a moment, Danitz thought he heard a rhetorical question. Isn't that a good thing? He's a good thing for a donkey to kick. With a dry chuckle, Danitz took a pile of posters. Taking advantage of the heavy winds and the late night, posted them in prominent spots all over the street. It really looks like posting a small advertisement, Klein, who had one hand in his pocket, observed. He silently thought, it's good to have an assistant. At least I don't have to do something that tarnishes my reputation. If I were in Tingen or Backland and something like this happened, the scene would have been too beautiful to imagine. Danitz and his eternal torment. Actually, Danitz finally reached outside the Cathedral of Waves and plastered the poster on the door. After finishing all this, he turned around and ran, as if there were 10 Punishers running after him. Klein didn't dare to be negligent. He pulled out a paper figurine, shook it off, and burned it to ashes before briskly walking to another street. After his recent encounters with the Punishers, he had a deep understanding of their style, and didn't dare to be careless. It was only after they were far away from the cathedral that they slowed down. Danitz had a good constitution, and his face wasn't flushed, nor was he panting. As he asked, "Why don't you just write to the police or throw it in the Governor General's office?" Klein is still using his tried and tested ability, call the cops. Second only to the JoJo's technique he copied, fucking running away. Before Klein could reply, he had already realized why. That's right, the low-ranking police officers and staff for the Governor Generals are locals. They might very well pity the resistance and might be clandestine believers of the sea god. As they were walking, they turned a corner and saw an extremely large red building in front of them. The inside was brightly lit, and music could be heard from within. People in carriages streamed in and out the door. It didn't exude any vibes that it was late at night. We actually ended up walking here. A smile appeared on Danitz's face. Red Theater. Klein, who was rich in theoretical knowledge, came to a realization. One of the most famous places in the entire Sonia Sea. There are mysterious and flirtatious Balam girls, passionate Fainapotter girls, open and alluring Intis maidens. Tall and graceful Fasak ladies, conservative and quiet lone ladies, gentle and docile natives. He knows a lot. I guess he comes often. Klein swept a gaze at Blazing and said nothing. This is what pirates talk about when bragging. I've only been here a few times. I didn't have much money in the past. I could only find some average ones, and it's mainly in the area of the Fog Sea. Afterwards, I joined the Golden Dream. No wonder. Although the Vice Admiral's men receive good employment perks and often get a share in the treasure, it's still quite difficult to save up a few houses in Bayam. Compared to a typical pirate, this man knows temperance and saves his money. Klein thought in enlightenment. Danitz didn't wish to continue the topic as he changed the topic. There are a lot of street girls in Bayam, especially there. Intis and maiden doesn't belong in the same sentence. Okay. There was once a pirate who did an experiment. He randomly knocked on a family's door, produced some money, and requested to do it with a mistress once. In the end, 3 to 4 families out of 10 agreed. What the fuck? What? That's crazy. I'm not reading that sentence. That's crazy. Okay. Klein listened quietly, and he suddenly thought back to the evening when the believers of the sea god were praying around the pool. He thought back to the feverish and numb faces. This is like an average social experiment in the 1950s. This is like, what the fuck am I reading? Backland, within the Ordora family's villa, Emlyn White, who had taken the initiative to expose certain problems about himself, nervously followed Cosme underground. Once they arrived where the black coffin was kept. "Esteemed Lord Nibs, why have you summoned me?" Emlyn asked. In this state, he suddenly understood a problem. From the point of view of theater studies, the role he was acting should hide his worries and fears. There's no need for any special concealment. I did well, Emlyn thought. To reward you. For the ancestor, you risked your life to pray to the fool. Although you didn't receive a response, you bore an enormous risk. This is an act that needs to be rewarded. Here, an acceptance draft for £7,000. A reward for you. Lord Nibs just gave him £7,000? How rich is this guy? What the fuck? I didn't give it to you in a timely fashion due to the great smog of Backland, but it's never too late. At the same time, you must be aware of something and not relax. If something abnormal happens, inform Cosme immediately. He really gave me money? Emlyn almost forgot to close his mouth. Dude, he can buy that. He can buy the power of a Baron now. Based. How strong would a Baron be? Like sequence 5, maybe? They definitely can't be demigod level, but If a regular sanguine is sequence 7, then a Baron should be like sequence 5, right? If Mr. White buys dolls, fuck you, dude. Dude, I would actually kill... I feel like if Klein, in his Gearman state especially, found out that this motherfucker got money, spent it all on dolls, he would just kill him. He would just be like, fuck it, just kill him. He deserves to die. Or better yet, just tell Father Utravsky, like, hey, just lock this motherfucker up for eternity, okay? He doesn't deserve to be here. He can't advance from 7 to 5. It has to be 6. Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. Okay, I don't know. I don't know why. I thought it would be different for vampires, Dr. Z, but I guess that makes sense in hindsight once you say it. All right, I've been neglecting art for the longest time. I need to do this. But, okay, soon, and then I'm going to bed. Oh, God, I can sleep at a reasonable time. This is so good. This is actually... Oh, come on. This is so much. This is so much username. This is so much Milos. What the fuck? Milos. Chapter 59 first. Mention of the 4 horsemen. Yes. Thank you, Ramiro. See, this is why you're the fuck. This is why you're the head mod. What the fuck? Let a sanguine treat himself. Why can't a man have hobby? Bro, have hobbies. Don't spend that much money on them. And like, spend money. I'm not saying like don't spend money on your hobbies. Go for it, okay? But spend a reasonable... Do the shit you need to do first and then spend excess money on hobbies. One does not simply not pay their rent and instead pay for their hobbies. No, less than gacha players. True. Never heard this. True. Okay. I've seen anime nerds and their figurines. True. If someone sees 4 horsemen somewhere, please let me know. I'm sure the vampires got financial advisors. They were later mentioned in 218, 391. Okay. We can check those out too quickly, Romero, if I can find them. Or nope. That doesn't even show up. That's never great. Oh, horsemen. Maybe that's the difference. The chapter is 59. Okay. How boring. Can't you be the horseman? Wait, hold on. My fortune is for yours to the taking, but you have to find... Oh my god. Oh, no wonder I didn't remember it. This is the fucking One Piece reference. No shit. Sanguine higher ups probably sold healing. 179. Okay. He said that he discovered an unnamed island with many supernatural creatures. Wait, where did it say Grimm and Edwards? Where? Well, Trevor, could it be the so-called primitive islands? Perhaps the information. Sunny Sea. No. Okay, nothing there. 218. One of the so-called four horsemen of the Emperor, Grim, died in the Sea of Fog. In a previous diary page, Roselle had written down that there was something wrong with this horseman. Bro, 2 lines above the first mention. Am I stupid? Oh, instead of Grim. Yes, thank you. Okay. Four horsemen, Edwards and Graham. Edwina Edwards. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Now that I'm doing this, I'll just read the rest of them too, just in case. Perhaps the information will be blah, blah, blah. No, not that one. Graham died in the Sea of Fog. In a previous diary, Roselle mentioned something that was wrong with this horseman. There seems to be something that... okay, I'll copy-paste this too. Fuck it, at this point. When your notes get this long, who even cares anymore? Just copy-paste everything. You know what? Just fuck it. Copy-paste the entire fucking novel into my fucking notes and then just Control-F all of it out whenever you need to. Horseman. Next. I want to make sure I don't accidentally fucking be careful. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to try not to accidentally go into, you know, chapter 900 or whatever. Initially, he had determined from the appearance of the Pirate King and the four horsemen of the apocalypse that Roselle had crossed 3. Nope, I already had this in my notes. 391, Seafarer Roselle. The diary entry seems to be linked to a page or two that climbed on a CERN. In the process, he had also teased Grim and Edwards were following him to sea using the means of the four Emperor of the Apocalypse and the True Pirate King. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, this doesn't even give me any new information. But I mean, at this point, who even gives a fuck? I think there should be one more. And then this should be the final one that I can... 536. Yes, I just read this. Full name. Okay. There we go. Okay, now we're seriously doing artwork, okay? I have so much of a backlog, it's actually killing me. I don't like this. I don't know. She looks so conniving here. And Audrey, I don't know. I don't like that. But like everything else, don't get me wrong. Aside from the, I think it's probably just the eyes that are doing it for me. But like everything else. The hair, the dress, the butterfly, the pane glass in the back. It all looks great. This is so cute. This is so cute. I love this. My notes are usually perfect, but I don't have anything but the horseman in it. So you know 2 of them, Edwards and Grimm. There's something wrong with Grimm, and Edwards has icebergs' names in it. Edwards and Grimm. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Who are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse? Famine, death. I don't know. I don't remember. This is very cute as well. This is very nice. War and pestilence. Pestilence. Thank you. Yes, thank you. This is really good. Even just the, what, fuck off. Even just the frame on the outside is so well done. Oh my god. Pestilence is like the plague. It's like disease, basically. Pestilence. Pestilence, a fatal epidemic disease, especially bubonic plague. Yeah. No problem. This is cool. This is cool. Oh, this is again so cute. I love this. This is so good. Again, it's like I like the fact that there's scribbles on it is really important to me. I don't know why, but like when there's when a character's holding a piece of paper and it's just blank, it really bothers me. So the fact that there's scribbles is like really important to me. I don't know why, but it just is. It just bothers me otherwise. I don't know what's up with the dark black in the background, man. Just make it white. Just leave it white and then just do a light shadow in the back if you want to. I'm tired of the art of the same characters. Why can't Milos mix it up? I mean, hey, you know, God bless him. He has like 40,000 pieces of art to get me through. So whatever he can, he used that one time, he will. Wow, her hair is so long in this. What the fuck? Is her hair canonically this long? Does she have like some Cinderella-esque hair? Or no, not Cinderella, Rapunzel-esque hair? What the fuck is this? This is so long. But this does look very good too, in fairness. Oh, even just the... these are not roses because they're pink, but like whatever flower this is, look, it's so well done. Ah. Whoa. Oh my god. Whoever did this, is this another... It's not mentioned? No? Okay, never mind. No, she has no... Wait. Is this another set of... tarot cards that has an entire set? Because if so, I love this. This is so good. I could maybe switch out this if this is an entire set. I wouldn't mind switching out this set for this one. Oh my god, this is so good. This is so well done. The Scales of Justice, the Sword of Justice. Oh, so good. This is like the Milos probably don't know. He's probably just gets it off of Pinterest. Fair enough. In some versions, Pestilence was replaced by Conquest. This is true. I also get to yeah. I did know that, but I think Conquest doesn't really make any sense because I feel like Conquest comes under War so much, right? At that point, Conquest and War are so similar in my mind. I mean, I get that there's a distinct difference between the two, but like I feel like Conquest is like a part of War, so the fact that that's a separate one doesn't make any sense. Whereas Pestilence, a plague, a disease, is like an actual like epidemic that comes through a community, so I get it. Wait, did he? Oh my god, he had more before this. Ah. Oh god, I just realized I was doing the new ones that he just sent. Oh god, I'm so cooked. Oh, this is very cute though. This is very cute. I love this. This is also nice. It's nice to see Audrey in something other than her normal green. This is nice. I like it. Some artistic liberties, thank god. Someone's taking it some. This is also good. Wow, this is actually so good. What the fuck? This is like damn near photorealistic. This is so good. Wow. Props to the author. Props to the artist, man. What the fuck? This is also really good. This is also really good. She looks really small here, though. Genghis Khan used Pestilence as a tool for conquest. I guess true. More canonically, since nobles don't rewear dresses. True. Especially like, did you guys know white was always historically considered, sorry, I'm not gonna use that one. White was always historically considered a rich person or like a noble's attire, because white is obviously really easy to get dirty. So like peasants couldn't wear it because you wear it, you'd step out the fucking house, it would immediately get dirty. But a noble could wear it and it was like inadvertently portraying like, hey, I don't do any work, I don't have to do that. But so was purple, so that's why Who was the Roman emperor? Purple even more so true, but that was a lot longer ago. Whereas white, up until even probably 300 years ago, maybe even 200 years ago, was considered like not a normal person's color to wear. Purple was the case because purple was just nightmarishly difficult to make. I can't remember. There was a Roman emperor whose cape was made of purple, and that was like, oh my god, he's so rich. He has a cape made of purple. Roman emperor purple robe. What the fuck was this? Yeah, so here. By the 4th century AD, supplementary laws were tightened, so much so that only the Roman emperor was permitted to wear Tyrian purple. Like, whoa, that shit is hard as fuck. It's a worm, I think they used to get. No, it's not. Yes, it's a snail. Yes, it's a snail, and they have to like beat the shit out of the shell, or so. I don't fucking even understand how it works. Yo, crushed seashells or something. Hold on, I can just look it up. The source of the dye was the mucus produced by sea snails found in the Mediterranean Sea. First, the sea snails had to be harvested. According to Roman author Pliny the Elder, thousands of snails were needed to produce an ounce of the dye. Like, so obviously purple was also a much rarer, was obviously like a thing. The mucus, not even the shell, yeah. It was like, that's crazy. How did people even find... Well, people, I don't know, man. Of course, it's back in the day, just be true, devil, true. This is also cool. This is cool. You know, Audrey rushing down, other nobles already being present in the house, whether for a party or some or a banquet or something else. This is cool. That is so much art to have on the staircase, though, bro. Like, author, I appreciate your dedication and shit, bro, but like, you can just do 1, 2, and a 1. What staircase has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of art in just a small sequence of the stairway? Like, there's probably more down here and more up here. This is crazy. This is too much. Also, green was big in the Victorian era, but also full of arsenic. True. Wait, green was full of arsenic? Is this true? Green dye, arsenic, Victorian era? You are right. You are right, Giovanna, but in a sense. It was a shell green wallpaper to blame. I see. Oh, I did not know this. Or wait, actually, no, wait, shell green. Oh, I think it's just a type. Oh, is it just a type of green? Never mind. It might not just be wallpaper. Never mind. Shell's green is a chemically produced hydrogen arsenite. It's chemically related to Paris green. Oh, they used it in fabrics too. Okay, never mind. Sorry, you're right. Did you know this is also the same reason? Briefly, people, not even briefly, but people used to think tomatoes were poisonous. Did you guys know this? Because back in the day, I don't know why the fuck you would do this, but plates were made out of, I think it was mercury, and tomatoes, being so acidic, would leach mercury in them. So people would eat tomatoes and get sick, and they were like, "Oh, tomatoes are poisonous." And I was like, "No, you dumb fucks! It was the plates you're using." Oh, this is so good! Audrey is an equestrian. This is so good, very good. Because wallpaper is why they would be poisoned by the air in their rooms. Jesus Christ! Because of copper pans. Copper pans? I thought it was arson. I thought it was mercury plates. You might be right. Oh, you might be right, username. I don't know. But is copper poisoning a thing? Well, I guess any heavy metal poisoning would have to be a thing. Yeah, I guess. Copper's a heavy metal, so I guess it makes sense. Did you know the first antibacterial agent was actually developed as a coloring agent? I did not. True, the vines of the tomato plants are poisonous because they're a nightshade. Oh, lead plates. Ah, it might have been lead plates, Giovanna. Yes, I might have that wrong. Oh, yes. I don't. Why am I thinking? Why am I thinking mercury? That doesn't make any sense. How would you make mercury plates? Mercury is a liquid at room temperature. What the fuck? What was I thinking? That logic should have fallen apart. Okay. Fuck. This is so much art. Jesus Christ. This is really well done. The chandelier is a lot of detail. Anything with Susie is immediately 10 out of 10. Lead poisoning was so frequent. Yeah, lead poisoning was common. And then also like the black lung and like all the sorts of, like, man, people in the old days just died from the most obvious shit. And it was like everyone knew, like, hey, you're going into chimneys or mines and you're inhaling dust all day. Do you think this is good for you? Fuck no, I know this is killing me. But what am I gonna do? Starve to death today? I guess. I mean, I can't argue with that logic. I don't know. There's something about the face structure here I don't like. But in general, very good. The pearls, the hands, the hair, it all looks good. Oh, wow. This is so well done. What the fuck? Send the children in the mines and the children yearn for the mines. True. This is so well done. The hat is beautiful. Oh my god. Turn to crime. True. Even better. This is interesting, but I don't know, there's something about the bottom here that's like off focus, probably by design, but like it's jarring to my eyes and I don't like it. This is, wow, that is beautiful. Holy shit. My god, that is so well done. What? This is also very good. This is also very good. I mean, they had uranium glass as a thing. This is true. This is true. They did have uranium glass as a... This is like, I was trying to explain to my dad not too long ago that, like, hey, like, nuclear power is the best, because apparently, like, older people do not like nuclear energy, because they just think of, like, Fukushima and... Was it 7 Mile Island or 4 Mile Island or whatever the fuck that was in the States? And then Chernobyl, obviously. And he was like, no, like nuclear energy is so scary. And I was like, no, we don't use uranium anymore. We use thorium. Thorium is great. Yeah, I'm so anti. Oh, okay. Oh fuck, you're about to rage bait the fuck out of me, username. Holy shit. Oh my, this is so well done. Anything with Susie for me is immediate 10 out of 10. But this is so well done. Like small details, the flowers, the whatever the fuck these pastries are, like all of this is so good. I mean, it's really busy for my eyes, but like all the same, it's very well done. That's also very cute, but I don't know. I don't like anything that like draws Audrey as such a kid and then also makes her cheeks blush up. I don't know. It's like I don't know. This is a type of art that I don't like. I feel like it feeds to a bad sense of. I think you guys know what I can't find the words to say what I'm intending to say, but I think you guys know what I mean. Wait, we can buy uranium from eBay? What? Yes, thank you, Joanna. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Like, I don't like it. Overall, the art is very cute. I'm in principle against it. She was 17 at the start, but she matured. Yeah, exactly. Like, she's 17. This is like a 12, 13. This is like a child. And that's fine. You can draw Audrey as a kid. I got no issues with that. I get that, like, drawing Audrey as a kid is fine because it's like materializing like her innocence as a beyond her. I get that. That's no problem. Whatever. You can take that artistic license, but I don't know. The blush cheeks just, I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way. Maybe I might be being pedantic. I don't know, but. Yeah, there's uranium on what? I mean, obviously not enriched uranium, but in what sense? Why? I assume if you order that, you have to be on some kind of government watch list. I mean, although I guess to enrich uranium, you need a fucking lot of stuff. People have done it though, which is wild to say. I don't know why I thought this edge here was her ear, and I was like, dude, why the fuck is she drawn like an elf? Never mind. This is, again, something off with the face for me. I don't know, the proportions feel somewhat... Everything individually looks fine, but something feels weird. There's uranium as dirt randomly on the ground. Don't pay for it. True. The flowers, everything, the dress, the sunlight, like the lighting in particular looks damn near perfect as far as I'm concerned. Jeez. Oh, this is so good. Like, you see this, like Audrey's drawn like a kid here, but I don't mind this image at all. This is so cute. Standing out there with a umbrella or a parasol or whatever. I'm doing my lore dump chapter for my novel. This shit hard as fuck. Okay. She looks a little more masculine in the face here. Oh, that might actually be my problem, Giovanna. You're right. That might actually be my problem. Susie, as always, 10 out of 10. Love the grass and stuff. Very good. Also, very good. Very cute. See, like, again, she's drawn kind of like a kid here, but she's just reading a book. Very cute. Very nice. Love that. That's a lot of books, Audrey. You reading all those? Jeez. Ah, see, it's going to bug me. Write some, scribble some lines on it. God damn it. I don't like it. See? Scribbles. Love it. Susie, 10 out of 10. Great. Oh my god, even the fucking lines on the piano are so detailed. What the fuck? Oh my god, this is so good. This is very cute. This reminds me a lot of like a portrait of Ciri from Witcher 3, although I guess we're talking a lot of Witcher 3, so that's probably why it's top of mind, but like a portrait like this, it reminds me a lot of this. Oh yes, if I don't think anyone is here that isn't in the Discord, but if someone is here and you're not in the Discord, consider joining. I try to give you guys heads up for when I'm going live. Link in the description. This is a tarot card. I don't like this one very much though. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. I don't know. It just seems lackluster compared to the others. Especially bred to be waterfowl, hunting dog, drinks potion, becomes too intelligent for this nonsense. Username. Consider joining, man. You're not in the Reddit either. You need somewhere to be able to... You need someone to hear your mad ravings. Hear me out, username. You're not in the Reddit anymore either. You really need somewhere. I really want to see an alternate world where Ultra is spectator. We did it. We managed to set up a Bloodborne on PC. Nice, Nagito. That's awesome. Not until Milos is gone. I can't get rid of him. He's the future. He's a child. I have to put my faith in the future. Okay, I have to put my faith in the next generation. A few days ago, someone approached me with a warm greeting. I asked her who she was. That was fucking awkward. I've had to do that before. That is not fun. I'm gonna play it in 2 days. Alright. Remember, Nagito. Viscerals. You have to get good at parrying for Bloodborne, okay? Why did the band make you lose your daily login? This is also very cute. I love this. Her chin is very pointy though. It's like, round that out a little bit, bro. Her chin is pointy as fuck. Also don't like this. Her face, I don't know, something feels off. I don't know. Oh god, last 8. Very cute. Oh my god, those roses are so well done. Even the hair, the lighting, is so good. Bro, random people have asked me why I don't talk with them anymore. I thought we weren't that close. This is cute. This is cute. My god, her waist is like... Her waist is thinner than her face here. What the fuck? I almost did Ishin Headless. Okay, you should be fine then. Never mind. This is also very cute. And now, no matter what, I can't interact with Reddit again. Seriously, username, consider joining the Discord. I'm just saying. You don't have to, but I'm just saying. This is actually really good too. What? Actually, I really like this one too. If there's oh my god, actually, how? Okay, no, they're of the same. Okay, the fact that they're all of the same one makes it look coherent. But I just had an idea. Maybe I could get all the Tarot Club members to be of a different format of like their own Tarot Club. Of their own tarot cards, of their own set, basically. But then, but that might look jarring, so I don't know. Lord of the Mysteries, very cool. Oh, this is so cute. This is so cute, Susie with the bow tie. Audrey Hall and her pet dog. I can't read that, but I'm gonna assume it says Susie. Sorry. Look at this. This is so cute. This is so cute. Audrey Hall and her pet dog. But I'm going to assume it says Susie, but I can't read it. This is very cute. And again, Audrey in anything other than the green dress is just nice to see. You know, someone actually taking some risks. Thank God. Otherwise, everyone keeps doing that green dress. Which I get, but still. Come on. Give me something here. This is really well done. Did you get... I don't think username... I don't think Reddit can do... does hardware bans, man. Because that shit is... I think only like certain games do. Or like consoles and stuff. There's no username. There's no shot you're hardware banned, man. There's no fucking shot. Because even with the VPN, they got me. Interesting. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I am sleepy. It is time to go night-night for me. Thank you, everyone, for another great stream. I'm so glad you guys could make it a little earlier than usual. This way I can go to bed at a decent time and then do a morning stream. All right. I'm going to go to bed now. What kind of crime did bro do? I don't know what he did, Ramiro. I'm so curious. How the fuck do you get how the fuck do you get banned from Reddit? Reddit is fucking unhinged lunatics. Everyone's there. When is next stream? Like 10.5 hours or something, give or take. I'll give you guys a heads up on the Discord. That's it. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.